He put her baby in my daughter's nursery, I said, and the living room went silent. Clara Bennett was sitting in the blush pink rocking chair I had ordered with my mother's last birthday card still tucked in my wallet, holding her son against her chest as if the room had always belonged to her. My husband stood beside her with one hand on the crib I had built for Lily, telling me in front of his mother, his sister, and 2 relatives I barely knew that I was being selfish for making a baby feel unwelcome. I did not scream, that seemed to disappoint them. Nathan's mother Diane folded her arms and looked at the sleeping daughter in my arms. Evelyn, don't make this ugly, you're emotional, you just had a baby, Clara, and Noah needs somewhere safe tonight. Tonight? I asked. Nathan's jaw tightened. For a while. Behind him, Clara lowered her eyes in a way that might have looked humble if she had not been sitting under Lily's name decal, which someone had half peeled from the wall. The letters hung crooked now. LL was still there, the Y had been torn off and stuck to the trash bag near the changing table. My daughter's first blanket lay in a cardboard box in the hallway. Her diapers had been dumped beside a pair of Clara's shoes. The framed sonogram I had placed on the shelf was face down on the floor. Nathan looked at me like I was the intruder. This is my house too, he said. You don't get to decide everything just because you decorated one room. I looked at the ceiling corner above the white bookshelf. The baby monitor camera was still there. Nathan had forgotten I installed it after Lily came home from the hospital. He had laughed at me then and called me paranoid. Now the tiny black lens had watched him move my daughter's things out of the room I had prepared for her, watched Clara carry her child in, watched Diane stand at the doorway and say, Evelyn will adjust, she always does. I shifted Lily closer to my chest. She stirred, opened her tiny mouth, then settled again. That small movement did more than any insult in the room. It cut the last thread I had been holding onto. Nathan mistook my silence for surrender. Go upstairs, he said, lowering his voice like he was being generous. Put Lily in our room for now, we'll talk when you've calmed down. I looked at the crib, then at Clara, then at the man who had once kissed my stomach and promised our daughter would have the safest room in the world. I am calm, I said. Diane scoffed. Then act like it. So I did. I walked past them, stepped into the nursery, and lifted Lily's birth bracelet from the cardboard box. I picked up the fallen sonogram frame. I took the small silver key from behind the picture frame on the shelf, the key to the fireproof safe in my closet. Nathan frowned. What are you doing? Taking what belongs to my daughter, I said. He gave a short laugh. Evelyn, don't be dramatic. I did not answer. I carried Lily down the hall to the primary bedroom, opened the safe and removed 3 things: her birth certificate, the prenuptial agreement, and the property deed to the house Nathan had just called his. By the time he followed me upstairs, I had already slipped the documents into my diaper bag. Where do you think you're going? He demanded. I looked at the man who had moved another woman's baby into my daughter's room and thought I would fight for a corner of my own home. Then I turned off our shared location. I'm leaving before you make the mistake of thinking you threw me out. I had imagined bringing Lily home 100 times before I actually did. In every version, Nathan was waiting at the door. He would take the car seat from my tired arms, kiss my forehead, and whisper that our daughter was perfect. His mother might cry, someone would take too many pictures. I would pretend to complain while secretly saving everyone. The nursery light would be on, not the harsh ceiling light, but the small moon-shaped lamp near the window, the one I had chosen because it made the whole room glow softly like a promise I had washed every Odyssey twice. I had folded the blankets into the bottom drawer by color. I had placed the first stuffed rabbit my mother bought before she passed away on the shelf where Lily could see it when she was older. That room was the one place in my marriage where I had not compromised. Nathan liked beige. His mother liked practical. I liked warmth, softness, and proof that my daughter had been wanted before she took her first breath. When the garage door opened that afternoon, I was exhausted from a pediatric checkup, still sore from delivery, and wearing the same loose cardigan I had slept in the night before. Lily was asleep against my chest in her wrap. She smelled like milk and baby shampoo. I stepped into the house and noticed the first wrong thing before I even set down my bag. There were unfamiliar shoes by the entryway, women's shoes, a pair of pale blue flats, small and clean, placed neatly beside Nathan's sneakers. I stared at them, then I heard a baby cry upstairs. Not Lily. I knew my daughter's cry already. Hers was thin and breathy at first, like she was unsure whether the world deserved her effort. This cry was sharper, older, hungry. My hand tightened around the strap of the diaper bag. Nathan, I called, no answer. The house smelled like lavender detergent and someone else's perfume. I walked toward the stairs. Every step made the soreness in my body pull. But something cold had started moving through me, stronger than pain. At the top of the stairs, I saw the boxes, 3 cardboard boxes in the hallway outside the nursery door. My stomach dropped before my mind understood what I was seeing. Lily's white swaddle blankets were in the first box, unfolded and crushed. The pale yellow sweater my mother had knitted before she died was hanging over the edge like trash. The second box held diapers, wipes, bottles, burp cloths, and 2 framed photos from the hospital. The third held books, tiny socks, and the pink wooden name sign I had ordered from a small shop in Vermont, Lily, for letters. Carved and painted by hand, the L had a scratch across it now. I could not breathe for a second. Then the nursery door opened. Clara Bennett stepped out. I had seen her once before, 8 months pregnant, standing too close to Nathan outside his office building. He had told me she was a former assistant going through a difficult time. He had said I was insecure for noticing the way she touched his arm. Now she stood in my hallway wearing my husband's grey t-shirt, holding a baby boy against her shoulder. "Oh," she said, not shocked, not ashamed, just soft, careful, like she had practiced being found. Her baby turned his head and rooted against her shirt. He looked maybe 4 months old. His dark hair was damp from sleep. My eyes moved past them into the room I had painted with my own hands while Nathan answered work calls downstairs, the room where I had sat on the floor at 7 months pregnant, sorting tiny clothes and crying because my mother would never meet her granddaughter, the room that had been waiting for Lily. It was no longer Lily's room. The crib sheets had been changed. The white fitted sheet with little gold stars was gone, replaced by a blue one I had never seen before. A diaper bag sat on the changing table. A stack of Clara's baby clothes filled the chair. Lily's rabbit was missing from the shelf. The moon lamp was still there, but the little name decal above it had been ripped halfway off. The Y was gone. Clara followed my eyes and smiled like an apology. "I'm sorry about the mess," she said. "Nathan said we could settle in before you got back." Settle in, the words moved through my chest like glass. I looked down at Lily. She was still asleep, warm and unaware. I had spent weeks imagining her first moment in that room. Instead, she had come home to find herself removed before she ever arrived. "Nathan," I said again. This time my voice carried. He appeared at the top of the stairs with his phone in his hand. His face changed when he saw me, but not with guilt, with annoyance. "You're back early," he said. "Early. The appointment was supposed to take longer." I looked at him, my husband, the man who had missed 3 prenatal appointments, then posted a picture of himself assembling Lily's crib on social media as if he had been Father of the Year. The man who had kissed me in the hospital room and said he would make things right once the baby came. He stepped toward Clara first, not me, not Lily. "Is Noah okay?" He asked. "Noah," he said the child's name gently. I waited for him to look at his daughter. He finally did. His eyes dropped to the sleeping bundle against me, then back to my face. "Evelyn, before you react, listen." That was when I knew this had not been an emergency. This had been planned. "Why are Lily's things in the hallway?" I asked. Nathan sighed. That sigh, I knew it. It was the one he used when he wanted me to feel childish before I even spoke. "Clara needed the room," he said. "Noah's been sleeping badly. She has nowhere stable right now." I turned my head slowly and looked at Clara. She lowered her eyes. "I didn't want to cause problems," she murmured. She was standing in my daughter's nursery wearing my husband's shirt. The sentence almost made me laugh. Diane's voice came from downstairs. "Is she home?" A moment later, my mother-in-law climbed the stairs with a dish towel in her hand, as if she had been hosting a family dinner instead of watching another woman move into my house. She looked at my face, then at the boxes. "Evelyn," she said sharply, "don't start." I stared at her. She came up the last step and lowered her voice. "You just had a baby. Your hormones are everywhere. This is not the time for drama. This is my daughter's room." "It's a room," Diane said. "A baby doesn't know the difference." "I do." Nathan rubbed his forehead. "That's exactly the problem. You're making this about you." My fingers went numb around Lily's blanket. "Who moved her things?" No one answered. That was an answer. I looked at Nathan. "You." His jaw moved. "Evelyn," he said. "I did what had to be done." Had to be done. The phrase settled between us. A month ago, I had needed help getting out of bed after labor, and he had complained that I was making him late for a client dinner. 2 weeks ago, Lily had cried from 2 to 5 in the morning, and he had gone to the guest room because he had a morning meeting. 3 days ago, I had asked him to bring diapers from the store and he had forgotten, but moving another woman into my daughter's nursery had to be done. Clara bounced Noah gently. Maybe I should go downstairs. No. Nathan said quickly. He said it too quickly. Diane looked at me. Clara is not the enemy here. I almost smiled. That was the thing about people who had already chosen sides. They always wanted the wounded person to be reasonable first. Nathan stepped closer. Clara's lease ended. She had complications after the birth. She needs support. Noah needs routine. We have space. I asked. He ignored the word. You and Lily can stay in our room for now. For now, yes, and Clara stays in Lily's nursery. Until we figure things out. I looked past him at the crib. Noah had started to fuss again. Clara carried him back inside. As if my silence were permission, she sat in my rocking chair, the one I had saved for months to buy, and began to pat his back. That was the first public humiliation of my new life as a mother. Not a ballroom, not a party, not a crowd, a hallway, 3 cardboard boxes, a mistress sitting in my chair with her baby in my daughter's room, while my husband's family watched to see whether I would break. Diane folded her arms. Evelyn, you need to be mature. My laugh came out quietly. Mature? Yes, there are children involved. My child is involved, and so is Noah. Nathan snapped. The silence after that was different. Even Diane looked at him. Nathan had defended Clara's baby before acknowledging that he had just displaced his own daughter. Clara's eyes flicked toward me. There was something in them then, not guilt, victory. I saw it, and because I saw it, I stopped pleading with the part of myself that wanted to ask why. Why would he do this? Why now? Why her? Why our daughter's room? Those questions belonged to a woman still hoping the answer might make the pain smaller. I was not that woman anymore. I shifted Lily higher against my chest and looked around the nursery doorway, the bookshelf, the shelf, the moon lamp, the tiny black dot near the ceiling corner, the baby monitor camera still on, still recording. I had installed it myself, synced it to my phone, and set cloud backup after reading too many safety articles during pregnancy. Nathan had mocked me for it. You think someone's going to steal a pacifier? He had said no, but someone had stolen a room. Nathan followed my gaze too late. What are you looking at? Nothing. His eyes narrowed. Evelyn. Diane stepped between us. Go put Lily down. We'll talk like family. Family. I looked at the boxes again. My daughter's birth bracelet was caught in the fold of a blanket, the tiny plastic tag visible under a pacifier clip. I bent slowly, careful not to wake Lily, and picked it up. What are you doing? Nathan asked. Taking her things. You're not moving everything around right now. I'm taking what belongs to her. Clara stood in the nursery doorway again. Evelyn, I really am sorry. Nathan told me you understood. I looked at her for the first time fully. No, I said. You hoped I would be too humiliated to say anything. Her face flushed. Nathan stepped forward. Do not talk to her like that. There it was, the line, not when his mistress sat in my daughter's nursery, not when my newborn's things were boxed in the hallway, not when his mother called me unstable, but when I spoke one true sentence to Clara. He found his outrage. I nodded once, not to him, to myself. Then I walked down the hall to the primary bedroom. Nathan followed. Where are you going? I did not answer. I opened the closet, pushed aside the laundry basket, and knelt in front of the fireproof safe. His footsteps stopped behind me. Evelyn. I removed the small silver key from my cardigan pocket. I kept it taped behind a framed sonogram in Lily's nursery because Nathan never noticed details that did not serve him. He had never asked where I kept the house documents. He thought documents were boring. He thought I was soft. He thought those two things were the same. I unlocked the safe. Inside were the documents my lawyer had made me keep organized years ago, after my mother died and left me enough money to build a life that did not depend on anyone's generosity. The property deed, the prenuptial agreement, the closing statement showing my inheritance funded the down payment, Lily's birth certificate, my medical records, a folder labeled household payments. Nathan laughed behind me, but it came out thin. What is this supposed to be? I placed the folders into the diaper bag. You are not taking legal documents out of this house, he said. I stood. This house, I said, is exactly why I'm taking them. His expression hardened. Careful. I looked at him, then really looked. He was still handsome in the way that had once made strangers smile at us in restaurants. Tall, clean-shaven, navy sweater, expensive watch, the kind of man who looked reliable in photographs. But I could see the panic underneath now. Not regret, panic. He did not know what I knew. He did not remember what he signed before our wedding because at the time he had called it a formality. He had said prenups were unromantic. Then signed anyway because my mother's lawyer had insisted before any inheritance money went into the home. Nathan had rolled his eyes and told me, "Fine, whatever makes you feel safe." It had. Now it would make me free. He blocked the bedroom doorway. "You're not leaving with my daughter." I took one step closer. "She is not leverage, she's my child too." "Then you should have remembered that before you gave her room away." His eyes flashed. "I gave another baby a safe place. You gave your mistress my daughter's room." The word mistress landed hard for the first time. He looked toward the hallway as if he cared who might hear. "Good, let them hear." Lily stirred against me and made a small sound. I placed my palm over her back. Nathan lowered his voice. "You're tired, you're hurt, I get it." "No, you don't. I made a mistake." Moving them in was not a mistake, it required boxes. His mouth closed. That silence told me more than any confession. I stepped around him. He did not move fast enough to stop me. Maybe because he still believed there was a line I would not cross. I walked downstairs with my daughter, my diaper bag, and the deed to the house he had just tried to use against me. Diane waited in the living room. "Where are you going?" she demanded. I looked at her, then at Clara standing near the stairs with Noah in her arms. "Somewhere my daughter is not treated like a guest." Diane's face twisted. "Don't be ridiculous, you can't just walk out of your marriage." I opened the front door. The afternoon sun hit my face. "No," I said. "But I can walk out of a room where everyone has already left me." Nathan came down the stairs behind me. "Evelyn, if you leave now, don't expect to come back and make demands." I paused on the threshold, then I looked back. Every person in that room was watching me. They expected tears, a threat, maybe a slap, something emotional enough that later they could retell the scene as proof that I had been unstable, so I gave them nothing they could use. "I won't make demands," I said. "I'll make filings." Then I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. The first thing I did after leaving my own house was not call my father. I did not have one worth calling. I did not call a friend and sob into the phone, though my hands shook so badly I almost dropped the car keys. I put Lily into her car seat. That was the first choice, the cleanest one. Buckle, strap, check the chest clip, tuck the blanket around her legs. My daughter made a tiny irritated sound, then went still again. Her little face scrunched as if even sleep required effort. I stood beside the open back door of my car and breathed through the pain in my abdomen. Behind me, the house looked exactly the same as it had that morning. White siding, black shutters, hydrangeas by the porch, the welcome mat Diane had bought without asking me because she said mine looked too childish. "Welcome home." I stared at the words until they blurred. Then my phone began to ring. "Nathan." I let it ring. He called again before I had even backed out of the driveway. I declined. Then the texts began. "You're overreacting. Come back before you embarrass yourself. My mom is upset. Clara is crying now. Happy. Think about Lily." That last one made me laugh so suddenly it hurt. Think about Lily. I parked at the end of the street because my vision had gone watery, and I refused to drive my daughter anywhere while crying. I wiped my face with the sleeve of my cardigan, then opened the baby monitor app for a moment. The screen buffered. Then the nursery appeared. Clara was sitting in my rocking chair again. Diane stood by the crib. Nathan paced near the door. The audio was clear. "Let her cool off," Diane said. "She always comes around when she realizes no one is chasing her." Nathan ran a hand through his hair. "She took something from the safe." "What?" "I don't know. Papers." Clara looked up. "What kind of papers?" Nathan snapped. "I said I don't know." Diane scoffed. "Probably the baby's records. She wants attention." Clara shifted Noah against her shoulder. "Should I take my things out of here?" "No," Nathan said. The speed of that answer told me everything. "No," he repeated, calmer. "If we move you out now, she wins." Diane made a sound of approval. "Exactly, you cannot let a woman dictate your household just because she gave birth." "Your household?" I looked at the house through my windshield. My mother's money had paid for the down payment. My credit had carried the mortgage when Nathan's commissions dropped during the market slowdown. My name was on the deed. My signature was on the insurance. My bank account had paid for the roof repair, the nursery furniture, the landscaping Diane liked to brag about, but in Diane's mouth it was Nathan's household. In Nathan's mind it had become Clara's refuge. In Clara's eyes it was a prize she could move into if she cried softly enough. I clicked record on the app even though the footage was already saved to the cloud. I wanted a separate copy. Nathan's voice came through again. "She won't stay away," he said. "Where would she go with a newborn?" I looked at Lily in the rearview mirror. She had one fist near her cheek. "Somewhere better," I whispered. Then I drove. I did not go to a hotel first. I drove to a quiet office building downtown. with smoked glass doors and a security desk that always smelled faintly of coffee. The plaque outside the third-floor elevator read Brooks Family Law and Estate Counsel. Maya Brooks had been my mother's lawyer before she became mine. She had helped settle the estate after Mom died. She had explained trusts, beneficiary forms, and why love did not cancel the need for signatures. She had drafted the prenup Nathan hated. She had looked me in the eye 2 weeks before my wedding and said, "Evelyn, protection is not pessimism, it is respect for the woman your mother raised." At the time I had smiled politely and thought she was too cynical. Now I understood she had simply seen more marriages than I had. Her receptionist, Alan, looked up as I stepped inside carrying Lily's car seat and a diaper bag stuffed with legal documents. His smile faded. "Evelyn, I need Maya," I said. "If she has 10 minutes. He stood immediately. "Let me check." 3 minutes later, Maya opened her office door herself. She was in her early 50s with silver-threaded black hair cut sharply at her jaw and eyes that missed nothing. She looked at my face, then at the car seat. "Come in," she said. That was all. I sat on the leather sofa because my knees no longer trusted me. Maya closed the door, dimmed the lights near Lily, and waited until I had placed the folders on her coffee table. Nathan moved his mistress and her baby into my daughter's nursery. I said. Maya's expression did not change much, only her eyes sharpened. "Start from the beginning." So I did. I told her about Clara, the shoes, the boxes, the baby in Lily's crib, Diane, Nathan saying the house was his too, the documents, the camera. When I mentioned the camera, Maya lifted one finger. "You have footage?" "Yes." "Cloud saved?" "Yes." "Do not send it to anyone casually. Download copies, store one somewhere Nathan cannot access. Do not edit anything." "I won't." "Good." She opened the property deed first. I watched her read the names, though I knew what she would see. Owner, Evelyn Marie Carter, not Nathan. Carter was the married name I had taken, but the ownership was mine. Maya reviewed the prenup next, her mouth pressed into a thin line at the relevant clause. Separate property remains separate. Appreciation tied to premarital contribution remains separate unless jointly refinanced or retitled by written agreement. No such agreement. No. Did you ever add Nathan to the deed? No. Did you ever sign a quitclaim deed? No. Any refinance? No. She nodded. Then he has no ownership interest in the home based on what I see here. He may argue marital contributions toward mortgage payments, but that is a reimbursement issue at most. It does not give him the right to house another adult there against your consent. The room tilted slightly, not from shock, from relief so sudden it felt dangerous. "He said it was his house too," I whispered. Maya looked at me. People say many things when they are standing in houses they do not own. For the first time that day I almost smiled. She pulled a legal pad toward her. "Is Clara receiving mail at your address?" "I don't know, she just moved in." "How long has she been there?" "I found her today, but from the boxes maybe earlier. I was at my sister's apartment for 2 nights after Lily's checkup because I was too tired to drive back and Nathan said he had late meetings." Maya's pen paused. "Did he encourage you to stay away?" I thought back. Nathan had texted, "Stay at Melissa's if it's easier. I have contractors coming by and the house will be noisy." Contractors? There had been no contractors. My throat tightened. "Yes." Maya wrote that down. "Send me the texts." I did. She looked through them quickly. "Do you want to return to the house tonight?" I looked at Lily. She yawned in her sleep, tiny mouth open, face peaceful. "No," I said, "not while they're there. That is wise. I want them out." Maya nodded. "We can begin with formal notice, since Clara is not a tenant under any lease, not on the deed, and entered with Nathan's permission but without yours. The strategy depends on local occupancy rules. We will proceed carefully. I can send a demand letter today. If Nathan refuses, we escalate. We can also document an unauthorized occupant and request assistance through the HOA and, if needed, court." "How long?" "Legally there are steps, but pressure can work quickly if they realize you know your rights." She looked at me. "Do you want Nathan out too?" The question landed quietly. I had left thinking of Clara, but Nathan had moved the boxes. Nathan had defended her. Nathan had placed his hand on Lily's crib like a man claiming territory. I looked at my daughter. "Yes," I said. Maya did not blink. "Then we prepare for divorce." The word divorce entered the room and did not explode. It sat there, solid, heavy, real. My marriage had been dying in small ways for months, maybe longer. Missed appointments, cold dinners, phone turned face down, a perfume scent I did not wear, a husband who complained that pregnancy had made me distant while I vomited into a bowl at midnight, but I had kept bargaining with Reality, maybe he was stressed, maybe I was sensitive, maybe after Lily arrived, he would remember who we were supposed to be. Then he gave another woman's baby the room he would not help finish for his own daughter. There are betrayals so specific they become mercies. They leave no room for denial. Maya slid a box of tissues toward me. I took one, but I did not cry. Where can you stay tonight? She asked. My sister Melissa is out of town, but I have her key. Good, do not go back alone, do not argue with Nathan by phone. Keep all communication in writing if possible. He'll keep calling. Let him if you answer. Record only if legal in this state and we confirm the rule. Until then, texts and emails are cleaner. I nodded. Maya leaned back. Evelyn, I need to ask something difficult. Has he ever threatened you physically? No. Blocked you from leaving before today? I hesitated. Her eyes narrowed slightly. He stood in the bedroom doorway. I said. But he moved. Document that. He said I wasn't leaving with his daughter. Document that too. His daughter, not our daughter. The pattern became visible only after Maya started naming it. Control was not always a hand around a wrist. Sometimes it was a man assuming every room, every dollar, every child. Every sacrifice would bend toward him because it always had. I spent the next hour sending Maya everything: screenshots, bank transfers, mortgage payments, the hospital discharge papers, Nathan's texts, photos of the nursery from before Lily was born, photos of the boxes in the hallway, footage clips from the baby monitor. When I opened the app again, the nursery feed showed Clara alone. She was standing by the wall, peeling the remaining letters of Lily's name decal off with her fingernail. Lil. She rolled them into a sticky ball and dropped them into the trash. Something inside me went very still. Maya saw my face. What is it? I turned the phone toward her. She watched Clara pick up Noah and place him in Lily's crib. For a long moment neither of us spoke. Then Maya said, "Save that." I did. My hands no longer shook. Nathan's first email arrived at 6:42 p.m. The subject line was "Let's be adults." That was how I knew Diane had helped him write it. Nathan did not use subject lines unless someone told him to. His usual messages were fragments and demands: pick up dry cleaning, where's my blue shirt, you paid water bill, don't wait up. This email was different. Evelyn, today was painful for everyone. Your reaction created unnecessary stress in a house with 2 infants. I understand you may be experiencing postpartum emotions. But leaving with Lily and taking documents without discussion was not appropriate. Clara and Noah are in a vulnerable situation. I made a temporary decision to help them. You have always said you care about children, so I hope you can reflect on whether your behavior matches the kind of mother you want to be. We should meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Mom present so we can discuss a reasonable arrangement. Nathan, I read it once, then again. A reasonable arrangement. My daughter's room had been emptied. My husband's mistress had been installed in it, and I was being invited to discuss reasonable arrangements under Diane's supervision. I forwarded the email to Maya. Her response came 3 minutes later. Do not attend alone. Ask for agenda in writing. Keep tone neutral. So I wrote back, Nathan, send the specific arrangement you are proposing in writing before any meeting. I will not discuss my daughter's living situation with Clara present. All communication about the house and Lily should remain written for now. Evelyn, he called immediately. I let it ring, then came the text. You're making this legal? Seriously? I replied yes. The dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again, then nothing. That night at Melissa's apartment, I slept in 40-minute pieces. Lily fed, cried, slept and woke again. My body ached. My mind replayed the hallway boxes every time I closed my eyes. At 3:15 a.m. while Lily slept against my chest and the city hummed outside the window, I opened my bank app. The household checking account was still linked to automatic payments Nathan had asked me to manage because I was better at that stuff. Mortgage, utilities, insurance, his car insurance, Diane's phone bill, a monthly transfer to Diane labeled help, and a credit card payment Nathan had promised was for joint expenses. I clicked through each one. The mortgage stayed, the utilities stayed, insurance stayed, Diane's phone bill stopped, the monthly transfer stopped, Nathan's credit card autopay stopped. A warning popped up asking if I was sure I was. For 4 years, I had mistaken managing his life for building ours. For 4 years, I had smoothed over late payments, sent birthday gifts to his relatives, remembered his mother's prescriptions, stocked his favorite coffee, and apologized for being tired when pregnancy made me collapse on the bathroom floor. I had thought love meant filling gaps. Now I saw what he had learned from it. He had learned that if he emptied something, I would refill it. Not anymore. By morning, Nathan sent another email. We need To talk today. Mom is coming at 11. Clara will be there because this affects her too. If you refuse to participate, I'll have to assume you're abandoning the home. I forwarded it to Maya. She replied with one sentence, excellent. He keeps writing admissions. I almost laughed. At 10:53 a.m. Nathan sent a video call request. I declined. At 11:08 Diane sent me a message. You are hurting everyone because your pride is bruised. Nathan is trying to be kind to a struggling mother. Don't punish an innocent baby. I stared at the word innocent. Noah was innocent, so was Lily. Only one of them had been shoved out of a room. I did not answer. At 11:30, my baby monitor app alerted me to motion in the living room. I opened it on my laptop and watched the family meeting begin without me. Nathan had placed the laptop on the coffee table, probably expecting me to join by video. Diane sat stiffly on the sofa. Nathan's sister Rachel was there along with Aunt Linda and cousin Paul, two people who usually appeared only for holidays and free meals. Clara sat near the armchair with Noah in her lap, wearing a pale sweater and an expression designed to be pitied. Nathan stood in the middle of the room. Evelyn won't join, he said. Diane sniffed. Of course not. Rachel looked uncomfortable. Maybe we should just give her time. No, Diane said. Time is how she controls people. She disappears and waits for everyone to chase her. I started a screen recording. Nathan paced. I'm trying to do the right thing. Clara has no family nearby. Noah needs stability. Evelyn knows that room is the safest one for an infant. Aunt Linda frowned. But isn't it Evelyn's baby's room? Nathan's face tightened. It was a nursery. A nursery can be shared. Clara spoke softly. I offered to sleep on the couch. No, she had not. But Nathan insisted Noah needed a quiet room. She continued. I didn't want to cause trouble. Diane reached over and patted her hand. The gesture was so maternal that I felt something ugly and cold move through me. Diane had visited Lily once in the hospital, complained about parking, and asked when I planned to lose the baby weight because photos were forever. For Clara, she had softness. For me, standards. Nathan lifted his phone. I'm going to call her again. He called. My phone buzzed beside the laptop. I declined. On the screen, his jaw clenched. She's refusing to communicate. I typed an email while watching. Nathan, I am available to communicate in writing. Please state whether you moved Clara Bennett and her child into the property without my consent and whether you removed Lily's belongings from the nursery. Evelyn. I hit send on camera. Nathan looked down at his phone. He read the email. His face changed. Diane leaned toward him. What? He shook his head. She's trying to trap me. Rachel straightened. What did she ask? Legal nonsense. What did she ask? Nathan. Rachel repeated. He glared at her. Aunt Linda looked between them. If this is about the room, why not just put Evelyn's baby's things back? Clara's eyes filled with tears instantly. I don't want to be the reason everyone fights. No one asked why she had moved in anyway. That was when I understood another painful truth. In families like Nathan's, the person who cries first often wins. I had spent years trying to be reasonable. Clara had learned quicker. She weaponized softness the way Nathan weaponized irritation, and Diane weaponized duty. Nathan answered my email at 12:04. I allowed Clara and Noah to stay temporarily because it was necessary. Lily's items were moved carefully and are still in the house. You are mischaracterizing everything. I forwarded it to Maya, then I replied, who moved Lily's items? 20 minutes passed. On the baby monitor, Nathan argued with Diane in the kitchen. She wants me to say I did it. Diane whispered. Don't, she'll twist it. Rachel's voice came from the doorway. Did you? Silence. Then Nathan said, it's my house too, I can move furniture. There it was, clear, useful, damning. Rachel said. Nathan, he snapped. Don't start with me. I saved the clip. By afternoon, Maya had drafted the first formal notice. It was not dramatic. Legal documents rarely are. That was their power. They did not sob. They did not beg. They did not ask a faithless man to remember his vows. They stated facts. Clara Bennett had no lease, no ownership interest, no written permission from the property owner, and no lawful basis to remain if consent was withdrawn. Nathan Carter was advised that inviting an unauthorized occupant into separately owned property without the owner's consent did not create tenancy rights by magic. All personal belongings not belonging to the owner or her minor child were to be removed. Further interference with the owner's access or property would be documented. Maya read the final paragraph aloud over the phone. If they refuse, we proceed with court filing and request appropriate relief. I'll coordinate with a process server and the HOA. Can it happen fast? I asked. We will make it happen correctly, she said. Correctly is what keeps it from collapsing later. I looked over at Lily. Sleeping in the portable bassinet Melissa kept for visiting friends. Correctly, that word became my anchor, not loudly, not emotionally. Correctly at 4:17 p.m. Nathan emailed again. Fine, I moved some things, I didn't throw anything away. You're acting like I harmed Lily. She's a newborn. She doesn't need a decorated room. Clara's baby is older and actually uses it. I read the line 3 times. She's a newborn. She doesn't need a decorated room. He thought a room mattered only if a baby could remember it. He did not understand that the nursery had never been just walls and furniture. It was proof that before Lily could speak, someone had made space for her. Nathan had taken that space because he believed my daughter was too small to notice and I was too weak to stop him. I saved the email. Then I opened a new folder in my cloud drive. I named it Lily House Case. Inside I placed every document, the property deed, the prenup, the emails, the texts, the baby monitor clips, the photos of the boxes, the video of Clara peeling Lily's name from the wall, the clip of Nathan saying, "It's my house too," the clip of Diane saying, "She always comes around." By midnight the folder had 37 files. By morning, it would have more. Maya's office became the first place where no one asked me to calm down. That mattered more than I expected. Everywhere else, calm had been a leash. Nathan told me to calm down when he wanted me quiet. Diane told me to calm down when she wanted me ashamed. Clara used calm like a mirror, making herself small so I would look cruel if I took up any space. Maya never told me to calm down. She told me to document. She told me to eat. She told me to sleep if Lily slept for longer than 20 minutes. She told me to stop apologizing whenever I handed her another piece of evidence. On the second day after I left, I sat across from her in the conference room while Lily slept in the stroller beside me. Sunlight fell across the table, touching the neat stacks of printed emails. Maya tapped one page. "This message is important." It was Nathan's email claiming Lily did not need a decorated room. "Why?" I asked. "It shows his mindset regarding Lily's needs and his willingness to displace her for another child. In custody matters, courts do not punish infidelity by itself, but they do care about judgment, stability, and whether a parent creates emotional or physical disruption for a child." "She's a newborn." "Yes," Maya said, "and newborns need stability too. They need a safe sleeping environment. They need a caregiver who is not being pushed into chaos days after giving birth." I looked down at my hands. My nails were chipped. There was a thin scratch near my wrist from carrying too many bags at once. "I should have seen it earlier." Maya's voice softened only slightly. "Seen what?" "Him." She did not answer right away. Outside the glass wall, her assistant walked past with a file in his hand. Normal life continued. Phones rang, printers hummed, someone laughed down the hall. Inside me, something old was collapsing. Nathan had not become selfish in one day. The nursery made it undeniable. But the pattern had been there. The first year of marriage, he had called my work cute because designing children's spaces did not impress his real estate friends. The second year, he began asking me to handle his mother's errands because I had a flexible schedule. The third year, when we started trying for a baby and I had 2 miscarriages, he cried the first time, held me the second time, and avoided the house the third. By the time Lily survived inside me, I had become grateful for crumbs, a hand on my back during an ultrasound, a half-finished crib, a caption under a social media post, "My girls." He had liked the image of us. He had not cared for the reality. I kept thinking if I needed less, he would love me more. I said. Maya looked at me over her glasses. "And did needing less make him give more?" The answer sat between us. No, it had taught him to take. Lily made a small sound in the stroller. I reached down and touched her blanket. "I don't want her to learn this from me." "Then she won't," Maya said. That afternoon we built the timeline. Maya wanted exact dates. When did Clara leave Nathan's office? When did Nathan start staying out late? When did he suggest I stay at Melissa's apartment? When did the so-called contractors come? When did Lily's nursery camera record movement? I had always thought betrayal would feel foggy. It did not. Once I began documenting, it became frighteningly clear. 3 weeks before Lily's birth, Nathan texted Clara at 1:12 a.m. "Soon, I just need to handle things at home." 2 weeks before Lily's birth, Clara sent him a photo of Noah asleep in a car seat with the message, "He deserves better than this." Nathan replied, "I know, I'll fix it." The chat history came later from Clara, but I did not know it yet. At that point I only had my own messages with Nathan. 8 days before Lily's birth, Nathan asked me where the spare nursery sheets were kept. I had been touched. I thought he wanted to help. 4 days After Lily came home, he suggested I stay at Melissa's because contractors were coming. The monitor showed no contractors. It showed Nathan carrying out Lily's boxes at 9:43 p.m. It showed Clara arriving with Noah at 10:18. It showed Diane entering at 10:41 with 2 grocery bags. It showed all 3 of them standing in the nursery while Nathan pointed at the crib and said something the camera did not fully catch because Clara was crying over it. Maya sent the audio file to a technician to clean it. Do we need that? I asked. We may not, Maya said. But evidence is like insurance. You collect it before you know which piece saves you. I thought of my mother. She had kept everything: receipts, titles, medical records, birthday cards, warranty manuals for appliances she replaced years earlier. I used to tease her for it after she died. Those folders helped Maya settle the estate without chaos. Now my mother's habit lived in me and it was saving my daughter's home. That evening I went to Melissa's apartment and tried to make it feel less temporary. I washed Lily's bottles. I folded the few clothes I had grabbed. I laid my mother's yellow knitted sweater across the back of the sofa because it hurt too much to keep it in a bag. Melissa called from Seattle when she landed. I swear to God, she said, skipping hello, I will fly back tonight and shave his eyebrows off in his sleep. I laughed for the first time in days. It came out cracked. Please don't commit a crime for me. I'm not saying I'll get caught. Mel, she exhaled hard. Are you safe? Yes. Is Lily safe? I looked at my daughter sleeping in the bassinet beside the couch. Yes. Good, then listen to me. You are not homeless, you are not abandoned, you have keys to my place, my car if you need it, and every ounce of rage I own. I closed my eyes. Thank you. Don't thank me, tell me what you need. The old Evelyn would have said nothing. I'm fine. The new one, the one born in the hallway outside a stolen nursery, said, can you stay on the phone while I eat something? Melissa's voice softened. Of course. So I heated soup while my sister talked about airport delays, hotel coffee, and a man at baggage claim who tried to pick up the wrong suitcase 3 times. It was ordinary. It saved me from sinking. Halfway through the soup, my phone buzzed. Nathan, not a call, a photo. He had sent a picture of the nursery. Noah was asleep in Lily's crib. The message below it said, this is what you're punishing. I stared at the screen. Melissa went quiet. What happened? He sent a picture of Clara's baby in Lily's crib. What the hell is wrong with him? I saved the image, then I forwarded it to Maya. I did not reply. 5 minutes later, Nathan sent another message. You used to be kind. That one hurt. Not because it was true, because for years he had made kindness mean surrender. I typed one sentence. I am kind to my daughter first. I hovered over send, then I deleted it. Maya had said written communication should be strategic. Nathan was fishing for emotion, for something he could show his family and say, see, unstable, so I wrote nothing. The next morning Maya called. The demand letter will be served today. My heart kicked once. Today? Yes, to Nathan at the house and Clara if she is present. I also sent notice to the HOA that an unauthorized occupant may be residing there. They cannot remove her for you, but they can document violations if she is not registered. Do you know whether the community requires occupant registration? Yes, anyone staying longer than 7 days has to be registered. Good. She just moved in. Even better. I looked at Lily, who was awake now and staring at nothing with the solemn confusion of newborns. What happens after they get it? They will either comply, panic, or escalate. Maya said, prepare for all 3. Nathan chose all 3 at 2:06 p.m. He called 8 times at 2:18. Diane called 3 times at 2:31. Rachel texted, what is going on? Mom says you sent legal papers to the house. I replied, Nathan moved Clara and her baby into Lily's nursery without my consent. I have asked them to leave my property. Rachel did not respond for 11 minutes. Then your property. I sent no documents, not yet. I wrote yes at 3:05. Nathan emailed, you are insane. You cannot evict my guest from our family home. You abandoned the house. I am allowed to have support here at 3:08. Maya replied on my behalf, Mr. Carter, please direct all legal communication to my office. Ms. Carter has not abandoned the property. She left with her newborn daughter after you admitted to moving an unauthorized adult and child into the nursery prepared for that daughter, without Ms. Carter's consent. The property is titled solely in Ms. Carter's name. Any claim to the contrary should be provided in writing with supporting documentation. Maya Brooks. I read the email 3 times. The property is titled solely in Ms. Carter's name. It looked almost too simple. One sentence against years of entitlement. At 3:19 Nathan called again. This time I answered, not because I wanted to talk, because Maya was sitting beside me with her office phone ready to join if needed, and because in our state recording required consent. Maya mouthed, "Put him on speaker." I did. "Nathan," I said, "what the hell is this?" He shouted. Lily startled in her stroller. My whole body tightened. Maya held up one finger, reminding me to stay steady. "This call is on speaker with my attorney present," I said. "If you continue shouting, I will hang up." Silence, then lower. "You brought a lawyer into our marriage. You brought Clara into our daughter's nursery." He exhaled sharply. "For God's sake, Evelyn, stop saying it like that. How would you prefer I describe it? You make it sound ugly." "It is ugly." Maya wrote something on her legal pad and turned it toward me. "Ask if he will remove Clara." I read it. "Will Clara and Noah leave the property today? They have nowhere to go." That does not answer the question. It's not that simple. It is to me. He laughed bitterly. "Since when?" "Since I found my baby's name in the trash," I thought, but I said nothing. Nathan's voice shifted, softer now, familiar, dangerous. "Evie, come on, we can talk about this. You're hurt. I know I handled it badly, but running to lawyers makes everything worse." There was a time that voice could have pulled me back from any edge. It had apologized without changing. It had promised without planning. It had made me responsible for forgiving before he became responsible for stopping. I looked at Lily. "No," I said. "It makes everything clear." His silence sharpened. "You'll regret this." "Maybe," I said, "but not as much as I'd regret teaching Lily that love means being displaced quietly." I ended the call. My hands trembled afterward. Maya slid a glass of water toward me. "That was good," she said. "It did not feel good. It felt like cutting off my own infected hand. Necessary, horrible, clean." By evening, the repaired audio from the nursery camera arrived. Maya played it once. The clip showed Nathan standing by Lily's crib while Clara cried. Diane's voice was clear. "Evelyn will adjust, she always does." Then Nathan said, "Once Clara and Noah are settled, Evie won't make me throw them out." Clara whispered, "What if she hates me?" Nathan replied, "She won't leave, not with Lily, not without this house." I listened without blinking. There it was, not confusion, not kindness, not emergency calculation. He had not thought I would approve. He had thought I could be trapped. Maya stopped the video. "Save this in 3 places," she said. I already did. That night I slept for almost 2 hours straight. In the morning, I woke to a message from Nathan. "Fine, if you want to play owner, come say it to my face." Below it was a photo of the demand letter torn in half on the kitchen counter. I forwarded it to Maya. Then I got up, fed Lily, washed my face, and put on the black wrap dress I had worn to my mother's estate signing. Not armor, a reminder. Women before me had signed papers so I could stand. Now I would. I met Mrs. Whitman at the coffee shop on Oak Street because she refused to discuss serious matters over the phone. She was 72, widowed, and had lived next door to my house since before Nathan and I bought it. She trimmed her roses with surgical precision, knew every delivery truck by sound, and once told Nathan his lawn edging looked lazy while he was standing directly in front of her. I had always liked her. Nathan had always called her nosy. That morning she sat near the window with a black coffee and a blueberry scone untouched on the plate. When I came in with Lily's stroller, she stood carefully and placed one hand over her heart. "Oh, honey," she said, 2 words, that was all it took. My eyes burned. I swallowed hard. "Thank you for meeting me." She looked into the stroller. Lily slept with her little fists under her chin. "She's beautiful," Mrs. Whitman said. "Your mother would have been over the moon." I sat down slowly. For a moment, the legal case, the betrayal, the nursery, all of it stepped back. My mother stepped forward in memory instead, her laugh, her hands, the way she had cried when I told her I was pregnant the first time. Before the loss, before illness took her too quickly to meet any of the babies I had hoped for, she bought the yellow sweater. I said, "I remember." She showed me the yarn. Of course she did. Mrs. Whitman remembered everything. She opened her purse and removed a folded piece of paper. I wrote down what I saw. I stared at it. She pushed it across the table. "I figured lawyers like things written." "They do." "Good. I saw that woman arrive Tuesday night around 10:15. Your husband helped her carry bags, not one bag, several, baby seat, folding bassinet, big suitcase, smaller suitcase, 2 grocery sacks. Your mother-in-law arrived after with diapers." I read the neat handwriting. Tuesday 10:15 p.m. Clara Bennett arrived. Tuesday 10:42 p.m. Diane Carter arrived. Wednesday 8:20 a.m. Nathan placed 3 cardboard boxes in upstairs hallway, visible from sidewalk, not fully saw through open front door. When delivery driver came, my breath caught. You saw the boxes? I saw him bring one downstairs first, then carry it back up. When Diane waved at him like she was telling him not to leave it where people could see, I looked up. Mrs. Whitman's eyes were sharp behind her glasses. I didn't know what was in them until I saw you come home, she said. I was watering my porch plants. I heard you call his name. My cheeks warmed with old humiliation. She leaned forward. Do not be embarrassed because someone else behaved shamefully. I pressed my lips together. She continued. Your husband told Mr. Harris from the HOA that Clara was his cousin. I froze. What? Wednesday morning Mr. Harris was checking sprinkler complaints. Nathan introduced her as family. A cousin. Nathan had rewritten Clara before I even found her. Mistress was too ugly, guest was too temporary, cousin sounded safe. Would you tell my lawyer that? I asked. I already wrote my number down. I laughed then, just a small broken sound. Mrs. Whitman, I could hug you. You may, but gently. I bruised like a peach. I did hug her gently. After coffee I drove to Maya's office with Mrs. Whitman's notes in the passenger seat and Lily asleep behind me. For the first time since leaving, I felt something steadier than anger. Evidence had a strange mercy. It took pain out of the realm of argument. Nathan could say I was sensitive, Diane could say I misunderstood, Clara could cry, but a timestamp did not care, a property deed did not care, a camera did not care, Mrs. Whitman's handwriting did not care. They simply existed. At Maya's office we reviewed the footage. In order. I had avoided watching some of it alone because I knew it would hurt. Maya watched with me, pausing to label each file. Clip 1, Nathan enters nursery, removes Lily's blankets from crib. Clip 2, Nathan carries cardboard box into hallway. Clip 3, Diane folds Lily's clothes into box while speaking to Clara. Clip 4, Clara places Noah's diaper bag on changing table. Clip 5, Clara asks, are you sure she won't make us leave? Clip 6, Nathan replies, she won't leave, not with Lily, not without this house. The words filled the conference room. Maya paused the video. That clip matters, she said. I nodded, but I could not stop staring at the frozen image. Nathan stood in profile near the crib, one hand on his hip, looking irritated rather than conflicted. Behind him, Clara held Noah and watched Diane place my daughter's clothes into a box. Diane's face was calm. No one looked guilty. That hurt more than if they had looked cruel. Cruelty could be heat. This was colder. This was a group of people reorganizing my life while assuming my pain would be manageable. Play the next one, I said. Maya looked at me. You don't have to watch all of it today. Yes, I said, I do. The next clip showed Clara alone in the room after I left. She stood near the wall and peeled Lily's letters off one by one. The audio caught her whispering to Noah, it's okay, Daddy got us a real room. Daddy, my stomach turned. Maya paused the video. Do you want a minute? No, but my voice sounded far away. Daddy, Nathan had not just moved Clara in, he had allowed her to give her baby a place in his life that he barely occupied for Lily. I thought of all the nights he had told me he was not good with newborns, how nervous he was, how he needed time to bond. Apparently he had found time elsewhere. Does Noah's birth certificate list Nathan? I asked. Maya's eyes shifted to me. We don't know. Can we find out? Not without proper legal reason and access, but it may become relevant if Nathan has been supporting him or representing himself. As the father, a new possibility opened under the old wound. I sat back. Do you think Noah is his? Maya chose her words carefully. I think Nathan's behavior suggests an attachment he has not disclosed, but we should not assume facts we cannot prove. Facts correctly, evidence first. Still, the question entered the case and refused to leave. If Noah was Nathan's son, then he had moved one child into another child's room. If Noah was not Nathan's son, he had still chosen Clara's child over Lily. Neither answer saved him. At noon, Nathan's credit card company called me. I ignored it. Then a text from Nathan came through. Why was my card declined? A second later, did you stop the payment? Then Evelyn, answer me. I showed Maya. She smiled without warmth. He noticed. I only stopped paying his personal card, as you should. He'll say I'm being vindictive. He can pay his own bill like an adult. That sentence should not have felt revolutionary. It did. For years I had paid the bills because if I did not, late fees appeared and Nathan blamed stress. I had transferred money to Diane because Nathan said it was easier than hearing her complain. I had covered repairs, groceries, gifts, insurance, emergencies. The house had been mine legally, but I had let them make it theirs through my labor. That ended now. I spent the afternoon separating accounts. Maya referred me to a financial advisor who had seen too many divorces to be shocked by anything. Together we changed passwords, removed Nathan from household management apps, froze joint credit activity where possible, and requested statements from the last 18 months. One line item stopped me. 3 charges at a baby boutique I had never used. Date 6 months ago, 4 months ago, 2 months ago, total $2 $438.61. I clicked the merchant details: luxury crib bedding, infant clothes, nursing chair deposit. My mouth went dry. Nathan had bought things for Clara's baby while telling me we needed to keep nursery costs reasonable for Lily. I had used coupons. I had refinished an old dresser myself. I had skipped the expensive organic mattress because Nathan said money was tight. He had spent nearly $2,500 on another child's room before stealing mine. The financial advisor, Priya, looked at my face. Do you want to stop for today? No, I said. Print it. By evening, the evidence folder had grown again. Mrs. Whitman's statement, the HOA note, the baby boutique charges, the torn demand letter, the photo of Noah in Lily's crib, the video of Clara whispering, "Daddy got us a real room." I sat in Melissa's apartment that night with Lily asleep on my chest and opened a blank document. Not for court, for myself. I titled it "What Really Happened." Then I began writing. Nathan moved Clara into the house while I was recovering from childbirth. Nathan placed Clara's baby in Lily's nursery. Nathan removed Lily's belongings. Nathan lied about contractors. Nathan told his family I would adjust. Nathan believed I would not leave without the house. Nathan was wrong. The list looked brutal in its simplicity. I read it once, then I added one more line. I left before they could teach my daughter to disappear. The doorbell camera at the house sent an alert at 9:37 p.m. I opened the app. Nathan stood on the porch with Clara beside him. Diane hovered behind them. A process server stood at the bottom step, calm and unimpressed. "Mr. Nathan Carter," the server asked. Nathan crossed his arms. "Who wants to know?" The server held out an envelope. "You've been served." Clara took one step back. Diane said, "This is harassment." The server did not react. "Ms. Clara Bennett." Clara froze. Nathan stepped in front of her. "She doesn't have to take anything." The server placed the second envelope on the porch table. "Service attempted and documented," he said. Nathan snatched the envelope and tore it open. I could not see the page, but I saw his face. The arrogance drained first, then the color. Then he looked up at the doorbell camera. For the first time I knew he understood I was watching. My phone buzzed. "Nathan, we need to talk now." I did not reply. Another message came. "You can't throw us out by sunset." I stared at the word us, not me, us. He had chosen his side all over again, so I chose mine. I forwarded the screenshot to Maya and set the phone face down. Lily sighed in her sleep. I kissed her forehead. "By sunset," I whispered. "They'll know whose door it is." The next morning I returned to my house with my lawyer, my sister's borrowed SUV, and my daughter sleeping in the back seat. I did not go alone. That was Maya's rule. It had become mine too. Mr. Harris from the HOA met us near the curb, wearing a windbreaker and an expression of strained politeness. Beside him stood Daniel Price, the real estate agent who had helped me buy the house years earlier. Daniel was not there as an agent that morning. He was there as a witness who remembered the closing, the title, and Nathan joking that he had married into better credit than he deserved. I had laughed then. Daniel had not. Now he greeted me gently. "Evelyn, thank you for coming." "Of course." His eyes moved toward the house. "I'm sorry." That phrase had started to sound different depending on who said it. From Nathan, sorry meant stop reacting. From Clara, sorry meant let me keep what I took. From Diane, sorry never came at all. From Daniel and Mrs. Whitman and Maya, sorry meant I see what happened and I will not ask you to pretend it did not. Maya reviewed the plan once more before we approached the front door. "We are not forcing entry. If Nathan refuses, we are documenting. We are delivering notice. We are making clear that consent for Clara to remain is withdrawn and that Nathan cannot authorize occupancy against the owner's objection. If he escalates, we leave and file emergency relief." I nodded. My hands were cold. Lily fussed in the car seat carrier, and I rocked it gently. "Maybe I should keep her in the car," I said. Melissa had offered to watch her, but I had refused, not because I wanted Lily near conflict, because Nathan had threatened to stop me from leaving with her once already, and some animal part of me could not let her out of my sight. Maya understood. "We keep distance," she said. "If voices rise, you step back." I looked at the house. The nursery window faced the street. The curtains I had chosen were still there, pale cream with tiny embroidered stars behind them. Another child had slept. My chest tightened. Then I remembered the folder in Maya's bag, the deed, the prenup, the notice, the footage. Correctly, we walked up the path before we reached the porch. The door opened. Clara stood there. She was dressed carefully in leggings and an oversized sweater, her hair loose around her shoulders. Noah was on her hip. She looked from me to Maya to Mr. Harris to Daniel. Her face changed, not into fear exactly, into calculation. Interrupted. Evelyn, she said softly. I said nothing. Maya stepped forward. Ms. Bennett, I'm Maya Brooks, counsel for Evelyn Carter, owner of this property. Clara's eyes flicked to me. Owner, one word changed the air. This is not a good time, Clara said. Maya's expression remained neutral. This will be brief. Nathan appeared behind her. He wore yesterday's t-shirt and the expression of a man who had slept badly and blamed everyone else for it. What the hell is this? He demanded. Maya turned to him. Mr. Carter, you received my correspondence. I received threats. You received notice. Diane's voice came from inside. Who is at the door? Nathan opened the door wider, stepping onto the porch as if the threshold were a stage he owned. Neighbors were already looking. Mrs. Whitman stood by her roses with pruning shears in one gloved hand. Good, let them see. Nathan noticed too and lowered his voice. Evelyn, you're embarrassing yourself. I looked at him. For years, that sentence had worked on me. It had made me smooth my dress, lower my voice, apologize in the car after dinner parties where he mocked my work, laugh off Diane's insults, forgive things that deserved confrontation. Now I stood on the porch of my own house with my daughter beside me and felt the sentence fall at my feet. No, I said, you are being documented. His jaw tightened. Maya handed him a copy of the notice. This confirms Ms. Carter withdraws consent for Clara Bennett to remain at the property. Ms. Bennett is not listed on the deed, mortgage, HOA occupancy records, or any lease. Mr. Carter, your invitation does not override the owner's objection. Nathan looked at the page and laughed. It sounded forced. The owner, he repeated. You mean my wife, my client? Maya said. Diane pushed past Clara and came onto the porch. Enough, she snapped. This is a family matter. You lawyers feed on women when they're emotional. Maya looked at her calmly. Please do not interfere. Diane's eyes widened. She was used to ruling rooms through volume and age. Maya gave her neither. This is my son's home, Diane said. Daniel stepped forward before I could speak. With respect, Mrs. Carter, I handled the closing. The property was purchased by Evelyn Marie Carter before the marriage using separate funds from her mother's estate. Nathan was present at closing as her fiancé, but he is not on the deed. The porch went quiet. Clara looked at Nathan. It was a small look, fast, but I saw it. He had told her something else. Nathan's face darkened. Stay out of this, Daniel. Daniel did not move. I am here because Evelyn asked me to verify facts. Facts? Nathan snapped. The fact is I've lived here for years. I paid bills. I fixed things. I almost laughed. The man who had once watched me hold a flashlight while a plumber repaired the sink now remembered himself as the handyman. Maya said. Marital reimbursement issues, if any, can be addressed in divorce proceedings. They do not create ownership rights or allow unauthorized occupancy. Clara shifted Noah higher on her hip. I didn't know. Her voice trembled. I looked at her. Yes, I said. You did. Her eyes filled instantly. Nathan told me you were separating. You saw my daughter's things in boxes. Nathan cut in. Don't attack her. There it was again, the reliable flare of protection. Never for me, never for Lily, always for Clara. I turned to Maya. Please continue. Maya handed Clara the second notice. Ms. Bennett, you are instructed to remove your personal belongings from the property. We are requesting that you vacate voluntarily by 6 p.m. today. If you refuse, my client will pursue all available legal remedies. Clara looked at Nathan again. You said she couldn't do this. Nathan did not answer. Diane stepped between them. Clara, go inside. Don't stand here being bullied. Mr. Harris cleared his throat. I also need to address the HOA issue, he said. Ms. Bennett has not been registered as an occupant or long-term guest. The board requires notification for stays exceeding 7 days, and there are parking and access rules. We'll need written clarification. Nathan turned on him. She hasn't been here 7 days. Then today's request to vacate should resolve it. Mr. Harris said. Mrs. Whitman coughed from her rose bushes. It sounded suspiciously like a laugh. Nathan stepped closer to me. Maya moved half a step too. He noticed and stopped. "You're really doing this?" he asked. His voice was lower now, less performance, more disbelief. "Yes, to Clara, to a baby, to the adults who put her baby in my daughter's room." Clara flinched. "Good." I wanted the sentence to touch her. I wanted it to sit in her the way the hallway boxes sat in me. Nathan looked at Lily in her carrier for the first time that day. "She shouldn't be here for this." "No," I said, "she shouldn't have been displaced in her own home either." His mouth tightened. "You keep saying that like I threw her on the street. You threw her out before she could crawl." The porch went silent again. Somewhere down the street a car door closed. Diane whispered, "That is a disgusting thing to say." I looked at her. "It is a disgusting thing to do." For once. She had no immediate reply. Maya took a small step forward. "We are finished for now, Mr. Carter, Ms. Bennett. All further communication should go through counsel." Nathan crumpled the paper in his fist. "And if I don't leave?" Maya's tone did not change. "Then you create more evidence." It was the perfect answer, not dramatic, not threatening. "True." Nathan looked at me then, really looked, as if he was trying to find the woman who would have softened the moment he seemed cornered. "She was gone, not dead. Gone. There is a difference. A dead thing can be mourned. A gone thing has chosen distance." I lifted Lily's carrier and turned away. Behind me, Clara said, "Nathan." Her voice was thin, afraid now. I did not look back. In the car my hands shook again, but this time not from helplessness, from adrenaline, from the shock of standing upright after years of bending. Maya got into the passenger seat. "You did well." I wanted to slap him. "You didn't." I wanted to scream at her. "You didn't." I wanted to ask how long. Maya looked at me. "You didn't because the answer no longer changes the decision." I stared through the windshield at the house. She was right. Whether Clara had been in his life for 6 months or 2 years, whether Noah was his son or not, whether he claimed to love me or her or himself most, the decision was already made. He had moved my daughter out. I was moving them out at 1:12 p.m. Nathan emailed Maya, "This is coercive and abusive. Evelyn is using property technicalities to make a mother and baby homeless." Maya replied, "Ms. Carter is not responsible for housing the woman with whom you had an affair, nor Ms. Bennett's child. You remain free to secure housing for your invited guest elsewhere." I read it twice, then once more for pleasure. At 2:30 p.m., Clara began carrying bags to Nathan's SUV. The doorbell camera caught it at 3:05. Diane arrived with boxes and anger. At 3:40, Nathan carried Noah's folding bassinet out while Clara cried on the porch. At 4:12, Nathan stopped and looked directly into the doorbell camera. "This isn't over," he said. I saved the clip. At 5:48 p.m. The sun was low enough to turn the front windows gold. I sat in Maya's parked car. Across the street, Lily asleep beside me while Mr. Harris supervised a locksmith changing the temporary access code and rekeying the front door with my written authorization. Nathan stood on the lawn with Clara, Diane, and a pile of bags. Clara held Noah. Nathan held nothing. That was the image that stayed with me, not the anger, not the shouting, not Diane calling me cruel loud enough for 2 neighbors to hear. Nathan empty-handed while 2 women carried the consequences of him. At 5:59, the locksmith closed the door and handed me the new keys. Nathan stepped toward me. "Evelyn." I looked at the sky. The sun had not fully set. 1 minute early. I said. Then I took the keys. I did not sleep in the house that night. People later assumed I did. They imagined some triumphant scene, me walking through the front door after Nathan and Clara left, placing Lily in her rightful crib, and reclaiming every inch under golden sunset light. But real victory is rarely that clean. The house still smelled like Clara's perfume. Noah's blue blanket lay under the rocking chair. There were formula stains on the dresser I had painted white. Lily's mattress had been stripped and shoved against the closet wall. Someone had taken the yellow sweater my mother made and placed it in the laundry room sink, damp from spilled water. When I found it, I sat on the floor and made a sound I did not recognize. Not a scream, not a sob, something lower. Maya was still downstairs with the locksmith paperwork. Melissa was on speaker from Seattle. Lily slept in her carrier near the doorway, unaware that her mother was breaking over a ruined sweater because grief often chooses small doors. I picked up the sweater with both hands, the yarn stretched at one sleeve. My mother had touched every stitch. Clara had touched it too. That thought made me want to tear the room apart. Instead, I folded the sweater carefully and placed it in a clean towel. Melissa's voice came through the phone. "Evie, I'm here. You don't have to stay there." I looked around the nursery. The room was mine legally, but emotionally, it felt like a crime scene. I know, Come back to my place tonight, clean it tomorrow, burn sage, burn Nathan's golf clubs, whatever helps. Despite everything, I laughed. I'm not burning evidence. Fine, photograph the golf clubs first. I took pictures instead, every mark, every misplaced object, every item that was not ours, every damaged piece, the empty wall where Lily's name had been, the trash bag with the rolled up letters still inside, Lily. I photographed them before touching them correctly. That word again. After the documentation, Maya walked through the house with me. She was careful not to react too much, but I saw her face when she noticed Clara's toiletries in the guest bathroom, Diane's casserole in the refrigerator, Nathan's laundry mixed with baby clothes that were not Lily's. This helps establish occupancy attempt, she said. I nodded, then she added, quieter, I'm sorry. That almost undid me. I locked the house, checked the new keys twice, and returned to Melissa's apartment for the night. At 11:23 p.m. Nathan sent a message, you changed the locks on me. I did not reply. A minute later, I lived there for 4 years. Then you're acting like I'm some stranger. I stared at that one. A stranger would not have known which room hurt most. A stranger could not have weaponized my trust with such precision. Nathan had not been a stranger, that was why it hurt. The next morning I woke to 12 missed calls and 1 voicemail from Diane. I played it while feeding Lily. You listen to me, Evelyn. I don't know what poison that lawyer is putting in your ear, but you are destroying your family. Men make mistakes. Women with children do not have the luxury of pride. If you push Nathan too far, don't be shocked when he fights you for Lily. A court will see you through a father out of his own home. I saved it. Then I sent it to Maya. Her response useful. Also, do not engage. I did not. Nathan engaged enough for both of us. By noon, his lawyer sent a letter claiming Nathan had been wrongfully excluded from the marital residence and demanding immediate access. Maya responded with the deed, prenup excerpt, and a reminder that Nathan had introduced an unauthorized occupant and refused to remove her until formal legal notice. At 2:15 p.m., Nathan filed for temporary shared custody. At 2:27, he texted me, you want to play legal games? Fine, let's see how you like only seeing Lily half the time. I was standing in the cleaning aisle of Target when I read it, one hand on the cart, Lily asleep in her stroller, a bottle of fragrance-free detergent in front of me. For a moment, the world narrowed to the words only seeing Lily half the time. My body reacted before my mind did. Heat in my face, ice in my hands, a roaring in my ears. He had found the one threat that could still reach the deepest part of me. Not because he wanted Lily half the time, because he knew I feared losing her. The old Evelyn might have called him then, might have cried, might have offered compromise, the nursery, the house, the betrayal, all negotiable if he just did not touch motherhood. Instead, I took a screenshot, then another, then I forwarded it to Maya. My message, he is threatening custody because of the house. Maya called within 30 seconds. Are you safe? Yes, Target. Good, buy what you need, then come to my office. We expected this. You expected him to use Lily. I expected him to use whatever still mattered to you. I closed my eyes. Of course, people like Nathan always found the softest place. That did not mean they owned it. At Maya's office, we prepared for the temporary custody hearing. I had imagined custody as a moral question. Who loved the child more? Who woke up more often? Who knew the difference between hunger cries and gas cries? Who could find the tiny nail file at 3 a.m.? Maya explained that court required structure. Who provided primary care? Who attended medical visits? Who maintained safe sleeping arrangements? Who communicated responsibly? Who created instability? There, at least, Nathan had done me a terrible favor. He had created evidence. We gathered Lily's pediatric appointment records, my postpartum follow-up notes, photos of the safe sleep setup at Melissa's apartment, receipts showing I purchased Lily's formula, diapers, prescriptions and clothes, messages where Nathan declined pediatric visits because he had meetings, the email where he said Lily did not need a decorated room, the video of him moving her crib, the text threatening custody after losing access to the house. Maya also asked me to write a care log for the next week. Every feeding, diaper, nap, medication, appointment, and night waking went into a spreadsheet. It felt absurd at first, then empowering. Motherhood had become invisible labor so quickly. Nathan saw a clean baby and assumed the baby had somehow remained clean. He saw bottles in the cabinet and never thought about washing, sterilizing, drying, measuring, preparing. He saw Lily sleeping and called her easy. The log made the invisible visible. By day 3, it contained more proof of parenting than Nathan had performed in Lily's entire life. While we prepared, Clara disappeared from the house story, but not from the consequences. Mrs. Whitman reported seeing Nathan's SUV outside a budget extended stay hotel. Clara was with him. Diane visited twice. Rachel did not. Rachel texted me on the fourth day, "Can we talk?" I stared at the message for a while. Rachel was Nathan's younger sister, 30, a nurse, and the only person in his family who had ever apologized without being cornered first. She had not defended me in the living room, but she had looked uncomfortable at the time. Discomfort had felt like cowardice. Now I wondered if it was the beginning of recognition. I replied, "You can write." Her answer came slowly. "I didn't know Clara was his affair partner. Mom said she was a friend from work in trouble. I thought you knew she was staying for a night." I closed my eyes. Diane had lied to Rachel too. Another message appeared. "I'm sorry about Lily's room. I wanted to reject it. Sorry did not move boxes back. Sorry did not unpeel the name from the wall." But Rachel's apology did not come with a demand attached, so I wrote, "Thank you." She replied, "Mom is saying you're unstable. I don't believe that." I sent no evidence, not yet. But I wrote, "The nursery camera recorded what happened." There was a long pause, then Rachel. "Oh God." That evening, Nathan tried another strategy. He came to the house. The doorbell camera alerted me while I was inside the nursery, wearing gloves, and sorting through what could be saved. Maya had advised me not to stay there alone too long. But I needed to begin. The room could not remain frozen as the place my daughter had been erased. I opened the doorbell feed. Nathan stood on the porch with a bouquet of white roses. White roses, the same flowers he used to bring after arguments because he said red roses were too dramatic. I watched him press the bell. I did not answer. He pressed again. "Evelyn," he said to the camera, "I know you're there." Lily was downstairs in her portable bassinet, sleeping within sight of the hallway. My phone was in my hand. Maya was on speed dial. Nathan lifted the flowers. "I want to talk, without lawyers, without everyone in our business." I almost admired the audacity. He had made our humiliation public in front of Clara, Diane, relatives, neighbors, a process server, an HOA manager, and a doorbell camera. Now that the facts had turned against him, he wanted privacy. I spoke through the doorbell. "You can email Maya." His face hardened, then softened deliberately. "Evie, please, I miss my daughter. You can discuss visitation through counsel. I miss you too." The words entered the room and found no home. Once I would have opened the door for that sentence. Once I would have looked at the flowers and remembered the man from our early days, the one who drove across town to bring me soup when I had the flu, the one who cried during our wedding vows, the one who placed his hand over my mother's hospital blanket and promised her he would take care of me. But memory is not character, it is only footage from before the reveal. "You need to leave," I said. He glanced toward the street. "Are you really going to make me stand out here?" "Yes, this is my home." "No, it is the house where you lived because I trusted you." His face changed. For 1 second I saw hatred flash through the mask, then he looked up at the camera. "You're going to regret turning me into the enemy." I did not answer. He threw the roses onto the porch, white petals scattered across the welcome mat. "Welcome home." Then he walked away. I saved the recording. By sunset, I had removed every trace of Clara from Lily's room, but I did not put Lily in it yet. Not because I was afraid, because reclaiming a room is not the same as healing it. I stood in the doorway holding the rolled up letters of my daughter's name and understood something simple. The nursery did not need to be restored to what it had been, neither did I. The courthouse smelled like old paper, coffee, and rain-soaked coats. It was the kind of building where every hallway sounded tired. People sat on benches holding folders that contained the worst parts of their lives. A couple argued in whispers near the vending machine. A man in a suit stared at the floor while a woman beside him bounced a toddler on her knee and wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I sat between Maya and Melissa, Lily asleep in her carrier at my feet. Melissa had flown back the night before and arrived at my apartment with no makeup, 2 suitcases, and the fury of a sister who had spent 6 hours on a plane imagining crimes. She had cried when she saw Lily. Then she asked where Nathan lived now and whether the extended stay hotel had cameras. I told her not to commit a felony. She said she was only gathering information. Now she sat beside me in the courthouse, her knee bouncing under the bench. Maya reviewed the file calmly. "Today is temporary," she reminded me. "The court is not deciding everything. We are asking for primary physical custody to remain with you, supervised or structured visitation for Nathan at this stage, and exclusive use of the home pending divorce. What if the judge thinks I overreacted?" Maya looked at me. "Then we show why you did not." Across the hallway, Nathan appeared with his lawyer. He wore a dark suit and the grave expression of a man attending his own reputation's funeral. Diane walked beside him, dressed in navy, pearls at her throat, mouth tight. Clara was not there. Nathan saw me and immediately looked at Lily, not with tenderness, with performance. He approached. Slowly, Maya stood. "Nathan," she said. His lawyer touched his elbow, warning him. Nathan stopped a few feet away. "Can I see her?" he asked. It was the first civil thing he had said in days. Still, my body tightened. Maya answered before I had to. "Not in the hallway. We can address temporary contact in the hearing." His eyes moved to me. "You're keeping my child from me now." Melissa made a sound. I touched her wrist. "No," I said. "I'm keeping her out of hallway scenes." Diane scoffed. "You're enjoying this." I turned toward her. For years, Diane had been able to make me feel 14 years old with a single look. Too sensitive, too quiet, too ambitious, too tired, too pregnant, too emotional, too much or not enough, depending on what she needed me to be. Now I saw her clearly. A woman terrified that if I stopped absorbing Nathan's consequences, some of them might finally reach him. "No," I said, "I'm documenting it." Diane's mouth closed. Maya touched my elbow. "Good," she murmured. Inside the courtroom, the judge was a woman with gray hair, rimless glasses, and the brisk manner of someone allergic to performance. Her nameplate read Marjorie Ellis. Nathan's lawyer spoke first. He painted a picture of sudden maternal instability. Evelyn had left the marital home. Evelyn had changed locks. Evelyn had weaponized property ownership. Evelyn was preventing a loving father from accessing his newborn daughter during a fragile bonding period. The words were polished, almost convincing. If facts had not existed, Nathan sat at the table, eyes lowered, hands folded. Diane watched the judge with solemn disapproval, as if she had personally been wronged by legal procedure. Then Maya stood. "Your Honor, my client left the home after discovering that Mr. Carter had moved his affair partner, Clara Bennett, and Ms. Bennett's infant son into the nursery prepared for the party's newborn daughter, Lily. He did so without notice and without consent. While Ms. Carter was recovering from childbirth, he removed Lily's belongings from the nursery and placed them in boxes in the hallway." The judge looked up. "That was the first shift," Maya continued. "The property is titled solely to Ms. Carter and protected under a prenuptial agreement. Mr. Carter then threatened custody litigation after being served with notice to remove the unauthorized occupant. We have messages, video footage, witness statements, and financial records." Nathan's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, we object to the characterization of Ms. Bennett as an affair partner at this stage." Maya nodded. "We can use Mr. Carter's own correspondence and the footage for context. The label is less important than the conduct." The judge turned to Nathan's lawyer. "Was another woman and her child moved into the nursery?" His lawyer hesitated. That hesitation was worth every hour of documentation. "There was a temporary housing arrangement," he said, "in the newborn's nursery." The judge asked. Nathan's lawyer looked at his notes. "Yes, Your Honor, but the newborn could safely sleep elsewhere." The judge's eyebrows lifted. Maya did not smile. "I loved her for that." She handed copies of the photos to the clerk. The judge reviewed them. The boxes in the hallway, the crib with Noah's blue sheet, the torn Lily name decal, my daughter's sweater in the sink. I kept my eyes on the table because I did not want to watch a stranger look at my humiliation. But then the judge said, "This is troubling." 2 words. My lungs opened. Maya played the first clip without drama. Nathan removing Lily's blankets, Diane folding clothes into boxes, Clara standing nearby. Then the audio. "She won't leave, not with Lily, not without this house." The courtroom went so quiet that I heard Melissa inhale beside me. The judge looked at Nathan. He stared straight ahead. His lawyer rubbed his forehead. Maya played the second clip, Clara peeling Lily's name from the wall. Then the third, Nathan's text. "You want to play legal games? Fine, let's see how you like only seeing Lily half the time." The judge's expression hardened. "Mr. Carter," she said, "did you send this message?" Nathan's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, my client was emotional." The judge did not look at him. "Mr. Carter," Nathan swallowed. "Yes. Did you move Ms. Bennett and her infant into the nursery without your wife's consent?" He looked at his lawyer. The judge waited. "Yes," he said finally, "but I thought it was temporary." "Did you tell your wife beforehand?" "No." "Did you remove your newborn daughter's belongings?" His jaw tightened. "I moved them to boxes in the hallway." "Yes, while the child's mother was recovering postpartum." Nathan's face flushed. "Yes." The judge made a note. Diane shifted in her seat. Maya then presented the care log, the pediatric records, and the list of appointments I had attended alone. Nathan's lawyer tried to argue that work obligations did not make a man an unfit parent. Maya agreed. Then she pointed out that threatening custody as retaliation for property enforcement did not demonstrate child-centered decision-making. Nathan stared at me then, really stared. I did not look away. He had wanted the court to see me as emotional. Instead, the court saw him as careless. When the judge issued the temporary order, her voice was clear. Primary physical custody would remain with me pending further proceedings. Nathan would receive scheduled visitation twice a week in a supervised setting for the first month, expanding only if he complied with communication and parenting requirements. Neither party was to disparage the other in the child's presence. Nathan was ordered not to bring Lily into contact with Clara Bennett pending further review. Exclusive use of the property would remain with me. Diane made a strangled sound. Nathan's face went white. I did not celebrate. Celebration would come later, maybe. Or maybe not. Some victories are too close to fear to feel joyful at first. But when Maya touched my arm and whispered, "You did it," I looked down at Lily. She slept through the whole thing. That felt right. I had fought so she could sleep. Outside the courtroom, Nathan broke away from his lawyer and approached me. Maya stepped in front of us. He ignored her. "Evelyn," he said. I adjusted Lily's blanket. "You got what you wanted," he said. I looked up. "What I wanted was to bring my daughter home to her nursery." His mouth twisted. "You're really going to keep punishing me for one mistake?" "One mistake," Melissa said, standing so fast her purse fell off her shoulder. I caught her wrist again. Nathan looked at my sister with open dislike. "Stay out of my marriage," Melissa laughed. "Your marriage? You moved your side chick into a nursery." People turned. Nathan's face darkened. "You don't know anything," Maya said firmly. "This conversation is over." I began walking. Nathan followed 2 steps. "Evie, wait." I stopped, not because he deserved it, because I was done running from scenes he created. He looked at Lily, then at me. For the first time, his eyes filled. "I didn't think you'd take it this far." There it was. Not "I didn't mean to hurt you," not "I was wrong, I didn't think you'd take it this far." He had expected my pain. He had miscalculated my response. "You should have," I said. Then I walked away. In the parking lot, while Melissa loaded Lily's carrier into the car, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. A text. "This is Clara. I need to talk." Nathan lied to me too. I stared at the screen. Melissa looked over. "Who is it?" I turned the phone toward Maya. Her expression sharpened. "Do not meet her alone," she said. I looked at the courthouse doors where Nathan still stood with Diane, both of them watching me like I had become someone dangerous. Maybe I had, not dangerous like them, dangerous to them. "Okay," I said. "Then let's hear what she has to say." Clara chose a park. That told me she still wanted to stage things. A park meant open air, mothers with strollers, sunlight through trees. A place where she could look fragile and safe. A place where raising my voice would make me the villain she had been trying to cast since the first day I found her in Lily's nursery. So I changed the stage. I told her through Maya that we would meet in a conference room at Brooks Family Law, with counsel present and no children in the room. Clara resisted. Then she agreed. When she arrived, she looked different without my house around her. Smaller, somehow not innocent, just less powerful. She wore jeans, a cream cardigan, and no makeup except mascara that made her eyes look wet before she cried. Noah was not with her. A woman I assumed was a friend waited in the lobby with the stroller. Clara sat across from me and kept her hands wrapped around a paper cup of tea she did not drink. Maya sat beside me. Alan set up a recording device after everyone signed consent. "State your full name," Maya said. Clara swallowed. "Clara and Bennett. You requested this meeting." "Yes." "Why?" Clara looked at me. I held her gaze. She seemed to expect something from me, anger, maybe, or pity, a sign that if she told her story well enough, I would soften the way Nathan had counted on. I gave her nothing. She looked back at Maya. "Nathan lied," she said. Maya waited. Clara took a breath. "He told me he and Evelyn were separated emotionally. He said they were staying together only until the baby came, and after that they would figure out logistics." I almost laughed. Logistics? My daughter's birth had been a logistical obstacle to his affair. He said the house was basically his. Clara continued, that Evelyn bought it before the wedding, but they had paid it together and he would get it in the divorce or force a sale. Maya made notes. "He told you that?" "Yes." "Do you have messages?" Clara nodded. "Some." "Did he tell you Ms. Carter consented to your moving in?" Clara hesitated. There it was, the crack. "Answer carefully," Maya said. Clara's eyes moved to me again. No, she whispered, not exactly. What did he say? He said she wouldn't like it at first but she would accept it. He said she was too attached to the house to leave. The words were not new. Still, hearing Clara say them made my skin go cold. Maya asked, "Did you know the room belonged to Lily Carter?" Clara looked down. "Yes. Did you know Lily's belongings were moved out to make room for your son?" Her fingers tightened around the cup. "Yes. Did you participate?" "I didn't move the boxes." Maya said nothing. Clara's voice rose slightly. "I didn't. Nathan and Diane did that." "Did you place your child in Lily's crib?" "Yes, but Nathan said it was okay." "Did you remove Lily's name decal from the wall?" Clara closed her eyes. "Yes." The room went still. My heart beat once hard. Maya looked at me briefly. Checking, I nodded. "Why?" Maya asked. Clara wiped under one eye. "Because it hurt to look at." That answer was so honest, so selfish that for a moment I could not process it. "It hurt you?" I asked. My voice was quiet. Clara flinched as if I had shouted. "You had my daughter's name on the wall," I said. "In my daughter's room, and it hurt you." Her tears spilled over. "I know how it sounds." "No," I said. "You know exactly how it sounds. That is why you're crying before I do." Maya touched my wrist lightly. "A reminder." Correctly. I sat back. Clara breathed shakily. "I thought if Noah had a place there, Nathan would finally stop hesitating." She said, "There it was, not homelessness, not emergency, a strategy. You used your baby to anchor yourself in my house." I said. She looked ashamed then for the first time. It seemed real, but real shame did not erase real harm. "Nathan promised he would take care of us," she whispered. "He said after Lily was born you would be too focused on the baby to fight a divorce," he said. "You hated confrontation." He said you'd rather keep peace than go to court. Maya's pen stopped. "Did he mention financial arrangements?" Clara nodded slowly. "He said once the house was sold or refinanced, he'd help me get an apartment, maybe buy one later." Refinanced. Maya and I looked at each other. There was the word that opened the next door. "Did he ask you to sign anything?" Maya asked. "No." "Did he mention needing Evelyn's signature?" Clara stared at the table. "He said paperwork was annoying. He said he could handle it." Maya's expression sharpened. "Do you have that in writing?" Clara opened her bag and removed her phone. "I have messages." She sent them to Maya. I watched the files appear on the office screen. "Nathan, once I unlock the house equity, everything gets easier." "Clara, what about Evelyn?" "Nathan, she signs what I put in front of her. She never reads the financial stuff." "Clara, are you sure?" "Nathan, I've handled her for years." My vision blurred at the edges. "Handled, not loved." "Handled." Maya's voice came from beside me, steady and low. "Evelyn, breathe." I did, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Lily was not in the room. She was with Melissa downstairs in Maya's private waiting area. I pictured her tiny hand wrapped around Melissa's finger and forced myself to remain seated. Clara was crying quietly now. "I didn't know he was trying to fake anything," she said. "I swear I thought he was just going to convince you." "Convince?" I repeated. She did not look up. "Did you know I had just given birth?" I asked. "Yes." "Did you know I was recovering?" "Yes." "Did you know Lily had never spent a night in that nursery?" Clara covered her mouth. "Yes." "Then don't ask me to believe you didn't know you were helping him hurt me." She cried harder. I felt nothing. That scared me for a second. Then I realized numbness was not cruelty, it was a boundary. Arriving late and locking the door, Maya continued the questioning. Clara admitted Nathan had paid for baby items using a card linked to our household account. She admitted Diane had encouraged her to settle in quickly before I came home. She admitted Nathan told her I would be angry but manageable. She admitted she had hoped I would leave the house because it would be easier. Easier for whom? No one needed to ask. At the end, Maya asked, "Are you willing to provide a signed statement?" Clara hesitated. "If I do, will you drop anything against me?" I almost admired the instinct. Even in confession, she negotiated. Maya said, "We are not offering immunity. We are asking whether you want your statement to reflect the truth." Clara looked at me. "Nathan says you're going to ruin him." I stood slowly. Maya glanced at me but did not stop me. I looked down at Clara, not because I wanted power over her, but because I was finished making myself smaller for women who entered my life through my husband's lies and then chose to stay for his promises. "I did not forge signatures," I said. "I did not move a newborn out of her nursery. I did not invite you into my house. I did not peel a baby's name off a wall. If the truth ruins Nathan, that is because he built something that could not survive it." Clara looked away. She signed the statement after she left. Maya closed the conference room door and turned to me. "We need to investigate the refinance issue immediately." "How?" We request records, we contact your lender, we check whether any application was started. If he submitted anything with your name on it, this becomes much bigger. My stomach turned, bigger than divorce, potentially fraud. The word sat in the room like smoke. I thought of Nathan's message, she signs what I put in front of her. He had believed that because it had almost been true. How many times had he placed papers in front of me while I nursed coffee and half listened because I trusted him? Insurance updates, tax forms, contractor estimates, HOA renewals, sign here. Evie, it's routine. Trust is efficient until someone corrupts it, then it becomes a weapon they loaded long before you knew. There was a gun. Maya called our mortgage lender that afternoon with me beside her. After identity verification and a long hold, we learned there had indeed been an inquiry, a home equity line of credit application, started online, not completed, under both names, with an uploaded signature authorization page bearing my name. I had never seen it. My hands went cold. Maya requested copies through formal channels. The lender representative sounded increasingly careful when Maya identified herself as counsel. By the end of the call, Maya had enough to send a preservation letter. Do we confront him? I asked. No, she said. We let the documents speak first. But Nathan confronted himself at 7:46 p.m. He texted, Clara told me she talked to you. Whatever she said is a lie. She's unstable. I stared at the message. Unstable. The word moved easily between women in his life. First me, now Clara, never him. Another text came. Don't use private messages in court. That's illegal. Then Evelyn, answer me. Then I loved you. I made mistakes, but you're turning everyone against me. I thought of the hallway boxes, the torn name decal, the credit card charges, the refinance application. Handled her for years. I typed one sentence, all communication through counsel. Then I sent it. For once it felt better not to say more. The signature looked like mine. If you did not know me, that was the worst part. It had the same open E, the same long downward line on the Y, the same slight tilt that made my last name look rushed even when I wrote slowly. But it was wrong, too careful, too smooth. My real signature had a break between Evelyn and Carter because I still sometimes hesitated over the married name. The forged one connected both words confidently, as if Nathan had forgotten that even after 4 years of marriage, some part of me had never fully settled into being Mrs. Carter. Maya placed the lender copy beside 3 samples of my real signature: driver's license renewal, prenup, Lily's hospital discharge form. There, I said, touching the brake. Maya nodded. I see it. Priya, the financial advisor, sat across from us with bank statements spread in front of her. The application was started 9 days before Lily was born. 9 days. I had been huge, swollen, barely sleeping, sitting on the nursery floor folding burp cloths while Nathan began paperwork to borrow against the house. What was the requested amount? I asked. Priya's mouth tightened. 180,000. The room went quiet. I felt the number enter my body like cold water. What for? Debt consolidation and home improvements, Priya said. That is what the application states. Nathan did not have $180,000 of home improvements planned. He had Clara, he had promises, he had a fantasy in which my house equity became his escape fund. Maya leaned back. We need forensic review, but given your denial and the signature discrepancy, this is serious. Could he say I verbally agreed? He can say anything. The lender required signature authorization if it is not yours. That matters. I stared at the paper. For days, the nursery had been the center of the wound. Now the wound widened. Nathan had not only taken space, he had tried to take money, my mother's money, the house she helped me secure, the protection she insisted on before she died. I thought of her in Maya's office years earlier, thinner than she wanted me to notice, wearing a scarf over hair already falling out from treatment. She had held my hand while Maya explained the prenup. Baby, Mom had said, I hope you never need this, but if you do, I don't want you scared and empty-handed. I had cried then because I thought she meant widowhood. She had meant life. Maya gathered the documents. We will raise this in settlement discussions and consider reporting depending on the lender's findings. It also strengthens our position in divorce. Will he go to jail? Possibly, but that is not the immediate focus. The immediate focus is protecting you, Lily, and the property. Protecting, not punishing. I repeated that to myself because rage was easy to drown in. I did not need rage to survive, I needed clarity. The divorce mediation was scheduled for the following week in a neutral office downtown. Nathan had resisted, then agreed after his lawyer likely explained that the evidence was not improving with time. I arrived in a navy dress, low heels, and no wedding ring. I had taken the ring off the night after the custody hearing, not dramatically, not in front of anyone. I simply removed it while washing bottles and placed it in a small envelope labeled marital property. Romance had become inventory. Nathan noticed my bare hand immediately. His eyes stayed there for 2 seconds too long. Good, let absence speak. He sat across the mediation table with his lawyer. Diane was not allowed inside, which improved the oxygen in the room. Maya sat beside me. The mediator, a calm man named Thomas Reed, began with the usual statements about resolution, cooperation, and avoiding unnecessary litigation. Nathan looked terrible, not ruined, not yet, but diminished. The careful suit could not hide the shadows under his eyes. His hair was too perfect in a way that suggested panic grooming. He did not look at me when Thomas asked if both parties understood the process. Then the negotiation began. Nathan wanted joint custody after the temporary period. He wanted access to the house to retrieve remaining belongings. He wanted reimbursement for mortgage contributions. He wanted me to stop defaming him to family members. He wanted the refinance issue excluded because it was a misunderstanding. Maya listened, then she opened our binder. I almost felt sorry for Nathan's lawyer, almost. Maya began with the deed, then the prenup, then the custody order, then the footage stills, then the messages, then the Clara statement, then the lender application. Nathan's lawyer requested a private caucus immediately after seeing the signature page. The mediator separated us into different rooms. For 40 minutes Maya and I sat in a small conference room with beige walls and bad coffee while Nathan's side had what I imagined was a very unpleasant conversation. I fed Lily from a bottle Melissa had packed and watched her little hand open and close against my finger. "You're calm," Maya said. "I don't feel calm." "You look calm." "That's new," she smiled faintly. "It suits you." The mediator returned first. "Mr. Carter is prepared to discuss a more realistic framework," he said. Maya's eyebrow lifted. "Good." Back in the main room, Nathan would not look at me. His lawyer spoke for him. Nathan would agree the home was my separate property. He would waive any ownership claim in exchange for review of possible reimbursement limited to documented marital contributions, offset by unauthorized charges and damages. He would agree Clara would have no contact with Lily pending further order. He would agree to a parenting course. He would agree to temporary supervised visitation continuing for 8 weeks. He would not admit wrongdoing regarding the signature, Maya said. "Then we are not done." Nathan finally looked up. "Are you trying to destroy me?" His voice cracked for one dangerous second. The room disappeared and I saw the man from our wedding, eyes wet, hands around mine, promising better and worse without understanding either. Then I saw him in the nursery footage. "She signs what I put in front of her." I sat back. "No," I said, "I'm trying to stop you from using me." He flinched, maybe because it was true, maybe because no one had ever said it so plainly. "I never used you," he said. Maya slid a bank statement forward. I placed my hand over it before she could speak, not to stop her, to speak for myself. "You used my account to pay Clara's baby boutique charges," I said. "You used my recovery time to move her in. You used my daughter's nursery to prove something to your mistress. You used my trust to start a loan application. You used custody to scare me when the house didn't work. What word would make you more comfortable?" His face reddened. Thomas Reed looked down at his notes. Nathan's lawyer whispered something to him. Nathan shook his head. "You don't understand what it was like." I almost smiled. There it was, the beginning of his great explanation. He had been lonely, I had been tired, Clara had listened, Diane had pressured him. The baby came at a complicated time. Money was stressful. He never meant for it to go so far. I knew the shape of excuses before he spoke them because I had spent years helping him sand down the edges of his behavior until it looked like circumstance. "Not anymore." "What was it like?" I asked. "Watching me carry your child while you planned where to put hers." The room went silent. Nathan's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Maya did not rescue him. Neither did his lawyer. For once, no one translated his silence into pain. It remained what it was, emptiness where accountability should have been. The mediator cleared his throat and suggested another break. During that break, Nathan requested to speak to me alone. Maya said no before I could. Then she looked at me. "Your choice." "But my advice is no." "My answer is no." She nodded. 5 minutes later, Nathan knocked on the conference room door anyway. Maya opened it halfway. "This is inappropriate," she said. He looked past her at me. "Evie, please, 2 minutes." I stood. Maya glanced at me. "I'll speak at the doorway." I said, with you here. Nathan's face twisted with humiliation. Good. Private access to me was over. He held the doorframe with one hand. I panicked. He said that was his opening, not I betrayed you. I panicked. About what? Everything, the baby, money, us. You were so focused on Lily before she was even born. Clara needed me. I felt like someone needed me. I stared at him. I needed you when I was bleeding after delivery. He closed his eyes. Don't. I needed you when Lily wouldn't latch and I cried in the bathroom. Evelyn. I needed you when your mother told me I looked exhausted in every photo and you said nothing. His jaw clenched. I know, no, I said. You know now because there is a consequence. He looked at me then, eyes wet. I loved you. Past tense, maybe accidental, maybe honest. I did not ask which. I loved you too, I said. His face shifted, hope flashing. Then I finished. That is why I know exactly how much you destroyed. The hope died. He stepped back. I can't lose everything. I looked at him for a long moment. You should have thought of that before you took from everyone. I closed the door. By the end of mediation, we had no final agreement, but we had movement. Nathan's lawyer knew the signature issue was a loaded gun. Nathan knew I would not meet him alone. The mediator knew who had documentation and who had emotion. Outside the building, Nathan caught up with me near the curb. Maya was a few steps behind, taking a call. Melissa waited with the car. Nathan stopped at a distance this time. Is Noah mine? I asked before he could speak. The question came out of me without planning. His face changed. Not enough for certainty, enough for suspicion. That's none of your business, he said. I laughed once, cold. You made his crib my business. He looked away. That was answer enough for the moment. Later, Maya would pursue the legal relevance. Later, Clara would admit Nathan had refused a DNA test because ambiguity gave him control over both households. Later, it would become one more thread in the web he had spun. But standing on that curb, I realized I did not need the answer to decide. Nathan had fathered betrayal. That was enough. The first time Lily slept in her nursery, the room was almost empty, not because I lacked furniture, because I had removed everything that carried the wrong memory. The crib stayed, but only after I scrubbed it, replaced the mattress, and washed the frame until my hands smelled like soap for hours. The rocking chair went into storage. I could not sit in it without seeing Clara. The changing table stayed because my mother had helped me choose it online from her hospital bed, and I refused to let Clara take that too. The walls were bare where the name decal had been. For a week I left them that way. A blank wall can be a mercy. It does not demand joy before you are ready. Melissa helped me repaint one afternoon while Lily slept downstairs in a portable bassinet. We chose a warmer white, not pink. The room felt brighter, cleaner, less like the dream I had built for a marriage that no longer existed and more like a beginning I could still choose. You sure you don't want clouds? Melissa asked, holding a paint roller. Maybe later. Stars. Maybe. Tiny feminist slogans. I looked at her. She grinned. What? My crib, my rules has potential. I laughed so hard I had to sit down on the floor. It felt like oxygen. After the paint dried, I placed my mother's repaired yellow sweater in a shadow box frame. The dry cleaner had done what she could. The sleeve still showed a faint stretch, but I no longer saw damage, only I saw survival. I hung it near the window, not as decoration, as ancestry. Lily would know she was loved by women who prepared rooms and kept documents and came back from humiliation with keys in their hands. Nathan's visits began that same week, supervised at a family center with cheerful murals, plastic toys, and staff trained to watch parents pretend not to be watched. I did not attend the first visit. Maya said I did not have to. Melissa drove Lily there with me in the passenger seat, and a supervisor carried her inside. Nathan arrived with a stuffed elephant and a face full of devastation. I watched from the car as he entered the building. My body wanted to run after Lily. My mind knew she was safe. Both things were true. When the visit ended, the supervisor's report noted that Nathan held Lily awkwardly, asked twice whether feeding was necessary yet, and became tearful when discussing the divorce. He was redirected to focus on the child. Focus on the child, a phrase strangers had to teach him. The second visit went better, the third worse. He tried to send a note back in Lily's diaper bag. Evie, I know I broke things. Please let me come home and talk. I'll do anything. Maya added it to the file. Diane tried too. She sent a handwritten letter addressed to my granddaughter's mother, which told me she could not bring herself to write my name, Evelyn. One day Lily will ask why you kept her father away. I hope you are prepared to answer for choosing pride over forgiveness. Clara is gone now, Nathan is suffering, a good mother thinks about the whole family, not just herself. Diane, I read it once, then I placed it in the evidence folder under extended family. Pressure. Melissa wanted to mail back a glitter bomb. I said no, then I bought one and never sent it. Growth is not perfection. Rachel came to see me 2 days later. She brought diapers, groceries, and no excuses. We sat in the kitchen while Lily slept in the next room. Rachel looked thinner than I remembered, her face drawn. I watched the footage. She said I stilled. How? Mom had Nathan's laptop open. I saw one clip before she slammed it shut. Rachel's eyes filled. The boxes. I said nothing. She twisted her hands together. I should have said something that day. Yes, I said. She flinched, then nodded. I know. The honesty made me soften more than denial would have. Rachel wiped her cheek. Mom told us Clara was basically homeless and you had agreed to help after the birth. When I got there and saw the room, I thought maybe there was some arrangement I didn't understand. Then you looked like... She stopped. Like what? I asked. Like someone had cut you open and asked you to thank them for the surgery. My throat tightened. Rachel looked toward the hallway. I'm sorry. I believe you. She exhaled shakily. But I'm not managing your family's guilt, I said. She nodded quickly. I'm not asking you to. I just wanted you to know I told Nathan I won't lie for him. Mom is furious. That mattered. Not enough to repair everything. Enough to mark a line. Thank you, I said. Rachel smiled sadly. I should thank you. For what? For making it impossible to pretend this is normal. After she left, I stood in the nursery doorway for a long time. That was the thing about boundaries. They did not just keep harm out, sometimes they gave other people permission to stop participating in it. Nathan came to the house again the night before the final settlement conference. Not with flowers this time, with nothing. The doorbell camera alerted me at 8:14 p.m. Lily was asleep upstairs. I was folding tiny onyxes on the living room floor. I opened the feed. He looked older. For a second I almost opened the door, almost. Instead I spoke through the camera. You should not be here. He looked up. No, then leave. I just wanted to see the house. It's not yours to visit. His mouth twisted. I helped make it a home. I looked around. The patched wall where our wedding photo had hung was now blank. His golf magazines were gone. Diane's welcome mat was gone. The kitchen calendar no longer held his work dinners, his mother's appointments, his reminders. Had he helped make it a home? Maybe once, but I had mistaken presence for contribution too many times. You helped make it unsafe, I said. He flinched. I didn't come to fight. Then why did you come? He looked toward the nursery window. Is Lily sleeping in there now? I hesitated. Yes. His eyes filled. The tears were real. I hated that they were real. It would have been easier if every part of him were false. But people can love what they harm. That is why leaving them hurts. Can I see it? He asked. No, Evie, no. I'm her father. Then behave like one from the places the court allows you to be. He looked down. I ended things with Clara. I believed him. It changed nothing. She moved out of the hotel. He continued. She's staying with a friend. She says she might file something against me. You should talk to your lawyer. I don't care about Clara. You did when you moved her in. His face crumpled. I was stupid. No, you were cruel. He shook his head. I never meant to hurt Lily. I walked closer to the door, though I still did not open it. That is what I keep thinking about. I said, you didn't have to mean to. You just had to forget she mattered. He covered his face with one hand. For a moment all I heard was his breathing through the doorbell speaker. Then he whispered, can you ever forgive me? Forgiveness. People love that word when consequences become heavy. They want it to be a bridge back to comfort. But forgiveness, if it ever came, would not be a house key. I don't know, I said honestly. But even if I do someday, you will never live here again. He looked up. There it was, the final hope leaving him. Is that really what you want? I looked toward the stairs where my daughter slept under a name newly painted on the wall by my own hand. Lily, not peeled, not temporary, not negotiable. Yes, I said. Nathan stepped back from the door. For once he did not threaten, he did not accuse. He did not tell me I would regret it. He simply turned and walked down the path. I watched until the camera view emptied. Then I went upstairs. The nursery was quiet. Lily slept in her crib, one hand open beside her face, moon lamp glowing softly on the fresh wall above the crib. Instead of the old decal, I had hung wooden letters Melissa and I painted together. Lily Evelyn Carter, my first name as her middle name, my family line restored inside hers. I sat on the floor beside the crib. For the first time since the hallway, I cried without stopping myself, not because I wanted Nathan back, because I did not. That was grief too. The final hearing took less time than the destruction that led to it. That surprised me. I had imagined dramatic objections, shouting, maybe Diane collapsing into a performance of maternal heartbreak. But by then, Nathan's lawyer had done what good lawyers do when evidence becomes a wall. He had advised settlement. Nathan agreed to the terms 3 days before trial. The house remained mine, no ownership claim, no forced sale, no refinance, no access without written permission. He accepted responsibility for personal debts, including charges linked to Clara's baby items. He agreed to reimburse a portion of unauthorized household expenses. He agreed to pay child support based on his income. He agreed to a structured parenting plan that began with supervised visits and could expand only after parenting classes, consistent attendance, and no contact between Lily and Clara. The signature issue did not disappear. The lender opened an internal fraud review. Maya preserved my right to pursue claims if needed. Nathan's lawyer insisted it had been a miscommunication. Maya replied that miscommunications rarely involved forged signatures. Clara signed a declaration. Diane refused to apologize. Rachel came to court anyway. She sat behind me, not behind Nathan. Diane noticed. The sound she made was small but satisfying. Judge Ellis reviewed the agreement with the impatience of someone who had seen too many people mistake selfishness for complexity. Ms. Carter, she said, looking at me over her glasses, you understand the custody provisions. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Carter, you understand that failure to comply may affect future parenting time. Nathan's voice was quiet. Yes, Your Honor. He looked smaller in court than he had in my hallway. Not because the room was larger, because his certainty had been stripped away. The judge approved the agreement just like that. My marriage ended in signatures. No thunder, no music, no cinematic justice. A clerk stamped papers, a pen clicked. Maya placed a hand briefly over mine. Done, she said. Done. The word moved through me slowly. I expected relief to arrive like sunlight. Instead, it came like exhaustion. My body understood before my heart did. The fight was over. At least this part. I no longer had to prove the house was mine. I no longer had to prove the nursery had been taken. I no longer had to prove that what happened was not a misunderstanding, not hormones, not pride. The record held it now. Outside the courtroom, Diane waited near the elevators. Nathan stood beside her, eyes red. Rachel lingered a few feet away, clearly not with them but not fully with me either. Diane stepped toward me. Maya's posture shifted. Diane ignored her and looked at Lily in my arms. She'll hate you one day for breaking this family, she said. There it was, her last stone, small, sharp, familiar. I looked at her for a long moment, then I shifted Lily gently and said, no, one day she will ask what happened, and I will tell her the truth in a way a child can bear. I will tell her that adults make choices and mothers are allowed to protect peace. I will not teach her to call betrayal family just because a man benefits from the confusion. Diane's face went pale with anger. Nathan whispered, Mom, stop. She turned on him. You let her do this. I almost laughed. Even now, Diane blamed the nearest woman first. Nathan looked at me. I'm sorry, he said, not loudly, not theatrically, maybe sincerely. It did not open anything in me. I nodded once. I hope you become the kind of father Lily deserves. His face tightened. He heard what I did not say. You are not that yet. Then I walked away. Melissa met me outside with a coffee I had not asked for and a muffin I would probably forget to eat. Congratulations, she said carefully. I looked at the courthouse steps, the gray sky, the people moving in and out with folders full of endings. I don't know if that's the word. Freedom then. That one fit better. We drove home in quiet. Home. The word no longer tasted like Nathan. It no longer tasted like Clara's perfume or Diane's judgment or the sound of boxes in a hallway. It tasted like new locks, clean paint, sterilized bottles, my sister's laughter, Maya's calm voice, Lily's milk breath and my mother's sweater framed near the window. At 5:12 p.m. I pulled into the driveway. The hydrangeas needed trimming, the porch needed sweeping, the welcome mat had been replaced with a plain woven one that said nothing at all. I liked it that way. Not every door needed to announce itself. Inside, the house was quiet. Melissa carried the court folder to the kitchen. I carried Lily upstairs. The nursery door was open. Sunset had begun. Golden light filled the room, touching the crib, the clean dresser, the framed yellow sweater, the painted letters on the wall, Lily Evelyn Carter. I stood in the doorway and remembered the first time I came home to find the room stolen. The blue flats by the entryway, the boxes, Clara's soft voice, Nathan's hand on the crib. Diane saying a baby did not know the difference. Maybe Lily would never remember that day, but I would, and because I remembered, I would make different choices for her until she could make them for herself. I placed her in the crib. She stretched one tiny arm, frowned at the world, and settled. No audience, no argument, no one standing behind me telling me to be reasonable while they took what was sacred. Just my daughter in her room, her room. I sat in the new chair by the window, not the old rocking chair. This one was simple, comfortable, chosen after everything. I leaned back and let the quiet reach me. My phone buzzed. For a second my body tensed, then I checked. A message from Nathan. I know today is final. I hope someday you believe I did love you. I stared at it. There were many things I could have said. Love does not move a mistress into a nursery. Love does not peel a child's name from a wall. Love does not forge signatures. Love does not threaten custody when it loses a house. But I had spent enough of my life explaining love to a man who used the word when accountability became inconvenient, so I typed only this: I hope someday you understand that love without respect is not a home. I sent it, then I blocked his number for everything except the court approved parenting app. The silence afterward was immediate. Clean. Downstairs, Melissa called. Evie, you want dinner? In a minute. I called back. I looked at Lily. Her eyelids fluttered. The moon lamp glowed softly outside. The sun lowered toward the line of houses across the street. By sunset, Nathan and Clara had once stood outside my door with their boxes, stunned that I had not folded. By sunset now, my daughter slept inside the room prepared for her. The difference was not the lock, it was me. I used to think keeping a family together meant holding every broken piece until my hands bled. Now I knew better. Some doors are not closed out of bitterness. Some are closed because a child is sleeping on the other side. And peace is finally inside the house. I stayed in the chair until the room turned blue with evening, then I rose, walked to the nursery door and touched the frame once, not to check if it was real, to thank myself for coming back. Downstairs, my sister was setting soup on the table. The quart folder sat beside a vase of grocery store daisies. My mother's old recipe box was open near the stove because Melissa had decided freedom required chicken and rice. I stood at the bottom of the stairs and listened. No shouting, no footsteps chasing me, no one telling me to make room for betrayal, just a house breathing around me. For the first time in a long time, I did not feel like a woman waiting to be chosen. I felt like the owner of my life, and this time the deed was in my name.